at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Nobody is coming to save you. Get up. Be your own hero.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you from 250 miles above your imagination in this IT nightmare we call the International Fake Station. I'm up here with my handler, Something Wong, from the Communist Party to make sure that I am towing the line. Wow, we got a lot of people here in chat right now. Let me go up here and take a look at everybody that we have. Look at here. We got Jamie Pimentel Elbay. Good evening, Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Jamie Pimentel Elbay appearing on behalf of YouTube. Well, thank you, YouTube, for sending a representative to the show tonight. We got Anson Howard with us. I see David Young. Daniel Becker, Twilight Nights. He's always here first. You guys, you're never going to beat him, man. Joanne Margaret, or is it Joan? Joan, that's Joan. Joanne has two N's. Right, got it. Joan Margaret is here with us. Not a big fan of Nick Volt. Nick Volt, good to see you, my friend. How are you doing? How's the drinking? Who else do we got in here? Stinky Cash, here he is. Rob, Tony Coriolis. He says, did great today. Craig, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that, man. I'm going to bring some people up. If they got some comments on it, I'd like to hear it. Jared and I were talking also about maybe some ways to kind of improve on that. That was a new concept, that buzzer. I couldn't hear it very good. And I would be like, wait a second, was that the buzzer that just went off? Or what the fuck is going on here? But a new tactic that they've got. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Celtic Hammer. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, he says that Wombat Turnip Craig has always used distraction techniques to wriggle out of the questions. I know, and when I dissected, most of what he said was nothing but insults and bullshit. I mean, I don't know. There's Austin Murphy's come in here. Charles Arnold is with us. Shockhead is with us. Rinsed you over Cavendish. Yeah, that's what I want to go over about this fucking Cavendish thing. Now, think about this. He said, I want you to steel man my position. So it's basically what he was wanting me to do is give him his fucking arguments, right? Then he wants to grill me on his fucking points. And I'm like, wait a minute. What I should have said and what I will say next time when someone says, can you steel man my argument? I'm going to say yes. And if they say, go ahead, I'll say, no. You make your own fucking argument. Okay? I'm not even doing that. That was stupid as shit. Cavendish isn't an experiment. It's just, look, just stop with that. If that's the best you got is 17th century fucking crackpots hanging lead balls. I was looking at this apparatus and I wanted to get into that. I was hoping he would show it, because you've got this torsion rod going through here and there's these weights hanging, right? There's these weights and they're hanging and they got it so it's isolated, right? And then they'll come back a little while later and say, oh, look, see, that torsion rod moved. That means that the mass was being attracted to this other mass. And it's like, wait a minute. That little chamber you got up there between the two chambers, that little tunnel you got up there that the rod's going through, what's going to happen, folks? What is going to happen if one of those chambers is warmer than the other? We're going to see a thing that happens when, oh, what happened? Why did that air move? Why did it want to go to that other position? It so badly that it pushed the fluid out of the way. Wonder what that was. So we know that Bernoulli's principle was not ruled out with that as well. That's in one of the types of the so many variations of this Cavendish, not an experiment. But why am I steelman? I mean, it occurred to me after I was doing it, I was like, wait a minute, it's your fucking experiment. Why don't you go ahead and you explain this nonsense? But no, he can't. When I pinned him down, the independent variable, really, that was the distance between the weights, so not gravity. So gravity wasn't the independent variable. Exactly, right? Okay. It doesn't prove anything. That was some type of magical anti-gravity device. We should really just ignore mass attracts mass, as even their model says it's wrong. I know, but they always want to do it. I mean, look, he said, can you straw man my position? So I was like, all right, I'll just say the bullshit that the globetards say. And then him wanting me to prove how the fucking thing works or whatever else. I don't think it works at all in the first place. So why are you fucking asking me about it? You know, he says, well, you brought it up. And I said, I brought it up because I was using your guys' fucking talking points. I don't really care. You know, so that was an interesting tactic. So no, I'm not going to steel man somebody's fucking position anymore. I was talking to Jaron about that too. And it's like, wait a minute. You want me to lay out your points? Isn't the whole point of this thing for you to lay out your points? Why am I supposed to lay out your fucking points? So you can argue with me about it over it? No, fuck that shit. So if you really dissect what he had to say tonight, outside of just postulation, especially when it came to his gradient bullshit with the Atmos, I'm like, wait a second, show me a downward acceleration of air. Oh, we have a gradient. That's not showing me a downward acceleration of air. Okay, that's not what I asked. Can you prove a downward acceleration of air? Well, it has mass. Okay, so you say, what's it weigh? How do you know it has weight? The only time it has weight is in a contained volume, and then it has to be under pressure in order for you to be able to weigh it. So is that weight really a weight, or is it just the pressure? What's going on? Because if you take an empty bottle and you have air in it, you take away and you put it down there on the table and weigh it on a scale, it's going to weigh the amount of the bottle. The air weight is not going to be in there. There is no weight of air in there. Okay. And I can remove the air and put that same thing on the scale, and it's still going to weigh the same, even though there's no air inside of it. It's still going to weigh the same because all we measured was the plastic. Now, if I put air in there under more pressure than what the capacity of it is at the ambient atmos where we're at, then it's going to be in a state of disequilibrium, and it then will have weight. It will have weight. I'd be interested to see if it shows any kind of weight in all directions. That would be interesting to see too. But I don't know how you'd set that up. Be a good. I'm working on it. Which means I'm thinking on it, contemplating it. But the simple idea and the simple fact that things will weigh more when I remove a medium from a vacuum. Why is that happening? I just took mass out of there, didn't I? I just took the mass of the air that was inside of this chamber along with the object. I took that out. So why does the object get heavier now? That don't make any sense. But if I go the other way and start modulating the medium to a more dense medium, yes, absolutely. I get different results every time. Every time. Every time I increase the density of that medium, I change the so-called acceleration rate. So he failed to demonstrate air having a downward vector or having a downward acceleration or any such other nonsense. He starts talking about escape velocity. Escape velocity of what? How much does a particle of gas weigh that it would have to have some kind of escape? Tell me, what does a particle of gas weigh? Have you ever isolated a fucking particle of gas and weighed it? No, all you've been able to do is quantify a contained volume. And the only way you could get a weight out of it was when you put it under pressure. Ain't no getting around that shit. You completely failed at everything. Yeah, well, other than you just keep going on this fucking shit about you don't know anything and you just disagree with these scientists. And I mean, did he really actually make any fucking valid points that would prove to you that the earth is a globe? Did he dispel any single one of my experiences or observations that every one of us have every day of the year, every day of the week, our whole life? There is not one experience that you have on this plane that would ever give you the idea that you lived on a spinning ball or even a stationary ball. That has to be given to you. That has to be told to you. And the only way you're going to ever buy that is if it's by somebody that you absolutely trust. Now you have to look at, where are you placing your trust and why are you placing your trust? How can you put trust into some man that you've never met merely because he claims accolades? Really? Is that a measure of truth because of the accolades of the individual that told you this nonsense? Craig would think so. Craig absolutely thinks so. He thinks that memorization of a bunch of horse shit without it making any sense whatsoever, not being observable in reality, not being observable in experimentation, is real because academia told him so. Now that, my friends, is a brainwashed idiot. That is what a brainwashed idiot looks like. I did like the little thing that Craig said at the very beginning. He said, I want to say hi to all 5 of Sean Hawkins's audience tonight. I thought that was rather funny. That was kind of cool. As I've said, I've got the link pinned up into the top of the chat. If anybody wants to come up, it's open. Anybody can come on up. But I thought, that whole thing about wanting to fucking have me explain to him his Cavendish experiment, that was ridiculous. And then every time he'd say, oh, go ahead, he'd ask me a question and then he'd give me like 5 seconds to start giving him an answer. And then he'd hit that fucking buzzer. And then he'd talk for 20 fucking minutes, totally taking out of context whatever it was that I said. So it's like, no. It should be, you get a certain amount of time and you can start it when you talk and you stop it when you stop talking. If somebody interrupts you, then you can stop your time. Okay. But you only get an overall time. So that's one of my ideas. Okay. And each time one party is talking, then their time stops. Right? The other person's time stops. The other person's time starts. They both go to talking at each other. Hey, there's an idea, Jaron. Have it so that if each person starts talking and they're talking over each other, their time gets subtracted by double as it goes. So for every minute, they lose 2 minutes. So that would dissuade from that too. It'd probably help me too. But yeah, I would say give each person a like a bank of time. And when each person talks, they can bloviate as long as they want to, but their time doesn't stop until they stop talking. And it just go like that. No more time is added. No more time is added. It's only subtracted. Only subtracted. And then at the end of that time period, it's done. It's over. So I don't know. I think that might. Hey, Mr. Lay, thank you. There's Tony Coriolis coming from somewhere in the dark. What's happening,
Yeah,
bro?
I'm out here in the dark, bro. Aesop.
How you doing tonight, bro?
What up? Doing good. I'm out here in Florence, Italy. I listened to the whole debate.
In Florence, Italy.
Yeah.
Nice. What are you doing there? Are you on vacation or something, or you live there?
Yeah, vacation. And I'm just a simple maintenance worker. But my little brother makes a bunch of money, and he kind of paid for this whole Italy trip. So I'm just tagging along. But yeah, I'm out here right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I envy you, my friend.
Hey, I've been hearing that a lot. And, you know, it is very cool to be out here. I just got respect for it. And Sav, dude, I definitely got respect for you. You did great today. I mean, Craig's a fucking troll. Fuck that dude. Dude, he's terrible. And he stayed. So even I was checking the timer. I mean, you both had 10 minutes off, and he's still talking about that fucking Cavendish experiment as though he's thinking he's staying on topic, but he's strategically calling out that Cavendish shit, you know. I just think Jaren's going to do a couple episodes of this and really streamline it. But yeah, man, I really think you did great, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. I tried to keep it together, you know, but that thing where he kept buzzing and then he'd go on, you know, and just, you know, totally obfuscate away from the point that I'm making, which is exactly what he wants to do. So you can't get to the point. He wants your attention broken up from what I'm saying. And he
exactly.
Just goes, yeah.
And I've listened to a whole bunch of his, you know, appearances on Jaren. And at some point, Jaren's just going to have to cut him because he doesn't listen to anything that we say. And the thing that he does, anytime that you're saying anything, he's literally just loving, like, his favorite thing to do is just reading the chats and seeing us, like, kind of yell at him. And then he just kind of smiles. You can see someone kind of hit him with something. So he just reads the chats, man. And he just stays on whatever he's thinking in his head. I had one teacher in like community college that said, and it really did resonate with me, of the main problem people have with having conversations nowadays is you're still thinking about what you're going to say instead of listening to what the other person's going to say. And that's always stuck with me. And man, Craig fucking does that, but he does it like bullshit. He does it on purpose because he's a fucking troll.
Yeah, I have to agree. The whole thing, yeah, I really should have, in hindsight, when he said, you know, can you steel man my position? I should have said yes, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's the way to handle that there, because that's what he did, was obfuscate over that. I mean, just even looking at the fucking Cavendish experiment, it looks like something some little kid set up for something. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? So it's like you're wanting me to explain your nonsense. I remember my physics teacher in high school. He set up the apparatus. He had all the stuff, you know, it was for the Cavendish, right? And lo and behold, it didn't work. And he's like, I don't understand. You know, I've got this set up exactly perfect. It worked for the, you know, last semester. I don't understand why it's not working here. We'll give it overnight, you know. And then we went and put it in an empty classroom and let it set. So there was no student activity or anything like that. And nothing fucking happened. And he was really mad because the semester before he had done this and he saw movement. And therefore, you know, that means that it's only mass attracting mass. Well, if the results are not consistent, and him saying that they are, he's full of shit. Because as the speed of movement, everything like that is consistent. No.
Yeah. And even you know that guy John Thor on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I even know. So I've only became like a flat earther as of 2020, but pre 2020, I was still watching John Thor, and I wasn't fully flat. I was just kind of toying with it a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
talking to people, and then I finally went flat 2020. But I vividly remember listening to John Thor had a video, and it's all gone off his old YouTube because they did that COVID wipe of all of his old stuff. So it's only available on Odyssey. If you go way back pre 2020, it's some video. It has something with gravity. It's got like Neil deGrasse Tyson in the video picture thing. But it talked out the Cavendish thing. And man, I didn't even know that really it was a bullshit thing. It's really presented well by John Thor on it is. So John Thor put the thing in the video just representing the Cavendish exactly as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's apparently he's way off, and he's got these big lead balls, and it's some weird dude from back in the day, and he like does this experiment, and these are his findings from it. And then right after that, John Thor plays a clip of a guy just talking out how literally if you measure gravity every day, like to say or whatever, it changes day to day, but just science, they round it off, they just make it a constant. And it is not a constant. And you kind of touched on that. And I just respected that, man. You really do know your shit, Sov. So you did as good as you could, man. The dude's just a fucking troll.
Well, yeah, that constant that they use is an average. It's an agreed upon average because it's never the same. It does change. And what could possibly cause that? Oh, maybe density of the medium. I don't know. Well, you put it in the vacuum chamber, right? And you test the rate. Okay, that's cool. These things fall. Big deal. What does that mean? That means that something is denser than nothing. You're still doing the entire experiment in this world, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you know,
and really, yeah, that John Thor, man. If I ever call into your show again, I'll have that video just quick to tell people how to look it up. But man, that was a good one, and it stayed with me the whole time. And really, the guy who's saying that gravity does change day to day type of thing, and really this whole all the stuff that we're looking into, man, it's just a mystery. And dumbasses like Craig are acting like they got all the answers to shit. Fuck that, man. And then his little diatribe at the end saying that you don't know shit, you got an IQ lower than his shoe size. Dude, his shoe size is probably a fucking man. I hate that guy. You know, he sucks. And Jaren's got to cut him at some point. But yeah.
I can we got Burn the Corporate Fictions in here as well. The Kung Fu Shaolin is with us. Jehovah's lovely daughter Barbara. We've got Kayla Chesney.
Hey Barbara.
And let's see, No Longer on the Ball, Iron Horse, Nick Volt. He's still spazzing out in the chat. He's all right. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. Harp Will Not Be Silent. That's a good name. Charles Arnold. Oh, crackhead, you're more indoctrinated than me. Awesome. We live on a rotating orbiting spheroid. Yeah, you might live on one, but I don't think the rest of us do.
Well, hey, Sav, it's 2:00 out here, 2 a.m. in Florence.
Oh, shit.
But hey, man, just wanted to say you did fucking great in my books, and fuck
you.
Craig. Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, thanks, Tony. Thanks for coming up.
Peace out, brother.
And, right on. So as I've said, everybody, the link is out there in the description or in the and pinned up in the top of the chat. Anybody that wants to come on, feel free to come on. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things, and I should not have fallen into that. Somebody called it the Iron Man fallacy. I think that and that just gave him time. He knew it was a time thing. All he had to do was bloviate and say the same thing. And to eat up time in between what he's talking about, he has to point out that you are stupid and you don't understand this and that and the other, and you are ignorant and you are dumb. And I was like, motherfucker, you look like somebody squeezed their ass cheeks on your head and then pulled up real fast. What the fuck, man? You know, I mean, Christ almighty, steel balls fallacy. Yeah, right. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna go with that type of shit no more. Next time a motherfucker asks that kind of thing, can you steel man? Can you steel man these, motherfucker? How about that? I ain't playing with you. There's Anson Howard is with us. Welcome to Europe. Only we in the UK left Brexit. Yeah. Well, you did the same thing as South Carolina did in 1861. So the only reason it's working out for you is because of military might. You guys will still go defend those sons of bitches, though. I guarantee it. Absolutely. Burn the Court for Fiction knows what I'm talking about. Probably most of you as well. Holy crap. Yeah. Yeah, man. I was just like, that's all he had was in Lucky Haskins. Holy shit. He's exactly right, man. At the end of the day, all they got is their fake fucking space and mockery. Because I was like thinking the whole time, I was like, I'm going to just make a note of every time he actually makes a point. And he danced around proving a downward acceleration of air due to gravity to the point where he had to beg the question by using the very thing in question as an example of that. So the only place this condition can exist is the one thing that's in question, because nowhere else in nature can we see up and see clouds in space. He fucking said he could see clouds in space. I'm like, no, dude, you didn't see no fucking clouds in space. Those pictures they show you, and we've broken it down. We've actually showed them admitting how they're made. That if you could see in infrared, if you could see in radio signals, this is what it would look like. So they get these fucking signals, and then they have an artist interpret what those signals mean. So you're not seeing anything. You've never seen a cloud up in space. You've never seen a fucking star forming up by gases forming together. This is all shit that you saw in some fucking pictures, Craig. And I've tried to point that out, but he didn't want me to point that out because they're not pictures. And he knows they're not fucking pictures. Dumb son of a bitch. Holy sheep shit. But yeah, that's one of their things, man, is that right there. It's a killer. They know it's a killer, and they can't prove this physical impossibility. I think that actually his obfuscating away from it should tell a lot of people why he don't want to go there. Oh, okay. Well, next question. No, not next question, bro. You didn't answer my fucking question properly, man. All you did was say a bunch of shit. Okay? Do you know what demonstrate? I mean, even if you want to go into a thought experiment, we can do that too. Like we did with the box and the vacuum chamber. It's a nebula. How the fuck do you even know what it is or how far away it is, Charles? Someone told you it's a nebula and said it does a certain thing. How in the fuck do you know that? You don't. You saw something through a telescope and someone told you what it was. How did they know what it was? Oh, spectroscopy. Brr. I can look at a jar of farts down the road and the spectroscopy and tell you exactly what kind of farts they are. It's the most ridiculous shit I ever heard in my life. Holy cow. Yeah, what medium is the nebula in? Liquid? And you're right. By the definition, I do not stand under that nonsense. You do. You understand it, but you don't comprehend it. You might understand it, but you don't comprehend it because it's bullshit. Yes, I know spectroscopy is real, but you can't look down the street at a jar of farts and tell what's in the jar. Okay? So shut up. It requires a containment in order to be done properly. Where do they get this? You can just look at some light and say, oh, that must be made out of this, and this. There it is. That's settled. Science. Shut the fuck up. You know what else puts off a spectrum of light? Light. Light puts off a spectrum of light too. So you're going under the pre-assumption that these things are somehow big, massive burning balls of gas in a vacuum. You already have pre-assumptions about everything that you're looking at, and those came from not you. Somebody told you. Okay? Calm down, Charles. Yeah, he said the universe is contained. Their universe has a firmament too, I guess. Yeah, I mean, what's containing it? What's containing your universe? Craig. So I missed the debate. How'd it go? Oh, it was fantabulous. It was fun. No, I know it's nuclear fusion. Yeah, that's what y'all say. And once again, how the fuck do you know that? How do you know what it is? Okay, because see, here's the biggest problem you got with that. Okay, is first you have to demonstrate that a gas can collect together in a volume without containment. And you're never going to have that. I'm sorry, my friend. Never, ever in the world are you going to have a volume of gas without a container. That's all there is to it. Gas does not behave that way. This fictitious gravity, gas molecules don't really give a flying rat's ass about this gravity thing, man. Sorry, just doesn't. We can demonstrate it all day long. It's been proven. Well, as long as somebody said it's been proven, then there you go, Charles. That's all it takes is, hey, well, if you say so, air is a fluid, yes. But here's the thing. Liquids and gases are both fluids. But liquids and gases are two different states of matter. They behave similar, but not exactly the same, if you can understand that. Okay. The reason they're fluid is because their molecules are not bonded to one another. And in both cases, a fluid only will have a shape within a containment. Okay, and I know somebody's going to say, I saw a little droplet of water. Yes, that's static surface tension. Okay, that's not huge volumes of water, which at rest remain level. There you go. Yeah, air is definitely called a fluid. This is why we have fluid dynamics, but we also have to recognize that the air and liquid, gases and liquids are actually two different states of matter. That's all. What do BPS rethink here? There are libraries full of volumes that explain it all. You know what? You can have an entire library about Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, I know that they sell a monster manual, and it has all the facts about all the monsters that exist in that world and what it takes to kill them and what kind of powers they have. And there's a volume on all different stuff. Does that make Dungeons and Dragons real now? Nope. Sorry. Hey, and if somebody will buy a book, write it. Why not? Especially if they're forced to buy the book, like by the National Education Association. I don't know, just saying. Maybe another Rockefeller-run organization that wants to propagate this nonsense into the non-thinking masses. I don't know, just throwing it out there, that's all. Just mock what you don't understand. Well, first off, I don't understand anything. I understand things. I comprehend things. I don't stand under any fucking thing. Okay. So learn to speak the king's language. It's all the difference between verb or adjective and noun. A thing isn't what it's doing. Yeah. There you go. So a measured effect is not a cause. What? Turning the globe upside down. Absolutely 100% we're turning that globe upside down with that shit right there. I mean, really cool principles, right? I want to show you all this thing again. This is really cool. Okay. So these are really fun. You can get these for like $4. You can get them on Amazon. In fact, you can get, I think it's about $15. You can get 4 of these things, and they're different colored liquids. This is a great demonstration. You're going to see that tube that's going down is completely underneath that liquid that's in there. Okay. And from where I held it right now, you can see that maybe, let me see if I can get the glare off it, Annie, that it's wanting to kind of go up in that tube. And that's because I picked it up by this bottom thing. What happened when I picked it up was that the heat from my body transferred. Now this is a closed system. Okay. This whole thing right here is a closed system, but a closed system will allow energy transfer. Okay. You have 3 different types of thermodynamic systems. You have an open system, a closed system, and an isolated system. Okay. This little device is a closed system. All right. Now, when I heat the air, when I warm up the air inside of here, this is going to, the only way that anything can get up to here is through this tube. And so that air is going to expand inside that globe, and it's going to push on this blue liquid, which is consequently going to push it up the tube. It's going to push it up the tube until it has no choice but to keep exchanging that air back through that tube. Watch what happens. All the liquid. Now it keeps falling down a little bit, but eventually it'll stay up there. Now watch what happens when I take my hand away from down here. Whoops. It starts to fall, but it goes slowly. It's going really slow because this air is now starting to cool down a little bit. It's starting to cool down a little bit. And as it cools and contracts, it allows a little bit more liquid to take its place. A little bit more of that liquid takes its place. Now, I can force it by applying heat to the upward part. And there it goes. It shot right down there to the bottom. Now that I've warmed up the top part, though, watch what happens. It takes it longer to get up there. In fact, it takes longer to get all of it back up there because this air up here wasn't as cold. You see what's happening? So I just think that's a pretty cool demonstration of how that exchange and how pressure can actually work. And, you know, some of you out there, teachers or whatnot, these are pretty good little thing to have around. Good way to explain how that shit works. So hope you kind of enjoyed that little demonstration. Another cool thing to have around the house to exemplify that. You see, this is the problem with the globes, man. They're always looking for a one-factor solution to something. They're always looking at that. It's caused by one thing, right? Where there are different variables: density of the medium, temperature of the medium, a lot of times even temperature of the object itself within the medium. We've got a lot of different variables, but most importantly is the relationship between the object and the medium in which it's in, right? So this is a cool thing. One of our good guys, Galileo, came up with this, right? And what this is a thermometer, okay? And it says that it's harmful or poisonous, whatever's in here. I don't know what the things are in here. But depending on the temperature in this room, in the middle will hang one of these baubles that has the appropriate temperature that it is here in the room. Will be in the middle point right there. It's achieved equilibrium, so to speak. Whereas this one's risen up to the top. Now, if I change the temperature in here, these globes will start to swap places. Why? Because they're different materials, right? And they're different weights because of their relative density within this medium. And therefore, they're going to react to whatever the medium does. There it is. Not a real, well, and it's not just happening to the medium, it's happening to the object itself as well. So we've got all these variables that are hooked together that come to the end result cause, you know, and the only thing we can do now, if we were going to experiment with that, we would want to do that with some different density materials and see how that reacts. You know, you have to change that out. You have to do multiple experiments to show that each one of these factors is a variable within the entire effect that you see happening. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope, maybe. I think I've got some cool shit though that I can show regarding this. And as we've shown before, I don't know where that guy is with the vacuum. Things weighing heavier in a vacuum. But oh, this was a pretty good one. Some NASA glitches. So when these people are trying to tell you, well, we have pictures from space. We took pictures, went up there and snip right there, handy cam, click. Just took me a picture up there, right? How the fuck did they get there? Of a rocket. How in the hell did the rocket penetrate the enclosure? How did it get out of the enclosure? And of course, their next question is always going to be what enclosure? And the answer to that is real simple. The one necessary to have a volume of gas. It all leads right back into that. Gravity. Does gravity have an effect on gas? Nope. Not a fucking bit. It don't give a shit nothing about gas particles. Nothing. If it even existed, it still don't. This is easily provable. Open an oxygen tank, like out near the, or just outside our atmosphere, right outside our atmosphere, right? Guy goes out of the shuttle or out of the space station here. We open the door back here somehow and allow him to get out there. And he goes out and he's got a tank of air, right? It's just a bottle of air. That's all it is. That's all he's got. Just this bottle of air. Takes it out there. And it's probably stronger than the fucking structure of this thing that they're in. And he takes that bottle of air out there on his spacewalk with him. And he opens it up, right? Now, is that air going to get sucked out down toward the earth? Is it going to start drifting down to the earth? Or is it going to just go gone, history in a second? Which one is going to happen? Of course, it's not going to go sucked back to the earth. That would be stupid. So gravity is not a sufficient container for gas until that can be sufficiently proven. And if you're going to beg the question and start using the very thing in question, well, then I have to ask you, where do you get the idea that because that air has any kind of weight to it? And of course, the only thing that they can show you is in containment. Now, as I was starting to say, in the vacuum chamber, you have that thing of air and you have weight to it on the scale because you've removed all the air out of here and you just got this bottle of air in there and it shows that it weighs something. If I open that bottle up, what's going to happen to that scale? It's going to go less. Is it going to read the same? No, it's not. What's going to happen? I've released it out into its surrounding medium. It now became the medium. And now the only thing you have is the weight of the plastic. That's it. You can do this all fucking day long. And it's never going to change. So we have a real problem with the idea of gravity containing gases. I mean, you'd have to have a real heavy-duty childish belief system to actually entertain that idea, because we never see that. If air was held down by gravity, then a simple hot air balloon would be much more difficult to lift off the ground. Much, much more difficult. But all we have to do is use the principles of temperature and gas expansion and what that entails. We manipulate the medium, not the medium outside. The medium inside is what we manipulated. We manipulated the ratio between the dV and the IV. In this case, we manipulated the dV. We could actually swap that around and have that be the IV. We change the medium within the object. It'll go up. In a bumblebee, how does a bumblebee fly? Well, harmonic resonance. What's it actually doing, though? It's creating its own pocket, not within the medium. It's somehow creating its own pocket. These things fly straight lines in wind. How the fuck are they doing it? Right? And that's it. They're manipulating the medium that surrounds them. Okay. And in a way, that's kind of what you're doing with a hot air balloon. They're changing the relative density of a pocket around them as opposed to that around them. And it seems to be impervious, and enough to be impervious to even gusts of wind as it flies perpendicular to the direction of wind. Very, very interesting. So we can see that a mere manipulation of the ratio between the object and the medium, we can achieve different weights. We've basically modulated what they would call gravity. We have changed it. Now, if we expand along these principles, I think we could get further ahead in our advancements than pretending that we're sending shit up into space, bilking people for billions of dollars, and producing nonsense that's not advancing us anywhere. Think about the amount of time and money that's been spent since 1965. Let's go that far back when they first started shooting shit up into low Earth orbit, right? Of what benefit to mankind has come about from any of it other than Velcro? What benefit to mankind has really taken place due to the money we spend in NASA? This thing here has been floating around in the cosmos now for 25 years, 30 years. Right? More than that? I don't know. They say it's been up here a long time, longer than the average lifespan of a double wide trailer. And what benefits to mankind have come about from this thing? How have we benefited? And show me how that's been worth the money that we spent. I mean, anybody? I had a guy try to tell me, oh God, yeah, I remember Tang, Charles. Tang. Don't drink it. That shit is nothing but chemicals. I wouldn't give that to anybody. I wouldn't give that to my enemies. It's Glur, G-E-R. You doing? Okay. Yeah, I remember Tang. But I see absolutely no benefit to mankind from this craziness. You know, all I've ever seen them doing, they say they're doing science up there, but all I ever see them doing is, oh, look, we can do a somersault. And here's this fucking bird playing a guitar. And here's another guy with his head going through the fucking ceiling as he chases a soccer ball around. And oh, yeah, don't forget, we chase each other around in gorilla suits. That's good science. I mean, what in the fuck are they actually doing? How is this thing up here benefited mankind in any way, shape, or form? I'd like to know. And don't tell me it's helped us advance our research of space. That's dumber than shit. That's like your kid. Why haven't you been doing your homework? Because I've been advancing my knowledge in Dungeons and Dragons, you know? No. That's not benefiting you. Not a bit. Especially when they say, yeah, we'll one day be able to travel to other worlds. And I'm like, wait a second. You say these other places are, hundreds of light years away. How the fuck are you going to do that shit? None of their stuff makes any sense, but they'll keep you placated with their science fiction tales, with their, well, I'm talking about NASA itself, with science fiction movies, and really hammer it home with a movie like Gravity, 2001 Space Odyssey. I mean, these guys were just like, hey, here we are. Now we're at Jupiter. We just was able to just fly over there, How the fuck are you navigating anything? How are you moving? How are you thrusting? How are you correcting your course? How do you know which way you're going? How do you even know you're moving? Got something outside there of the spaceship that works like an odometer or something that maybe tells you how fast you're moving or what? No, we calculate that by the amount of fuel expenditure. Dude, you can sit there in a weightless in a vacuum, and you're telling me that you got fire pushing you someplace? What are you pushing against? What force are you counteracting in order to make this even work? So, well, we've been through a whole tank of fuel. We must be to Mars now. You haven't moved anywhere. You don't even know what fucking direction you're pointed. Some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. We use the stars for navigation. Blah. Oh man, look at all these fucking messages. Yeah, I got a lot of messages. Thank you, Ben, if you're watching. Ryan, it was pretty much all the same shit. God damn, that guy's annoying. What an ass hat. Things like that. Ben said, look, he just hung himself, and he did. When I walked him through that entire mind experiment, that thought experiment involving the vacuum chamber, he demonstrated my point exactly. Exactly. So what happens to the air in there when I open the box? Well, it's going to fill the empty space. Isn't that interesting? So gravity didn't hold it in the box. Ain't that crazy? So it's still going to be a lower pressure in there, even though I've opened the box. What's going to happen when I open the vacuum chamber? Oh, it's going to come right out into that. Why'd that happen? The only reason it was at a different temperature was a different pressure was the fact that it was sealed off. It was closed. It was in an enclosed system. So Earth is a closed system. I'm sure it can allow energy transfer. I don't know. Maybe it's an isolated system. I can't be certain. Where is the sun? It certainly isn't 93 million miles away. It would almost appear as though the sun is actually within the Earth system itself. So I don't know. Maybe it is an isolated system, an isolated dynamic fluid pressure system. We have to get out there to be able to find out what's there in order to make that determination. Do what we see when we're looking at stars, are those really stars? Are they really way, way, way out there? Or are they just on the dome? Are they just on a ceiling? How do you tell? When looking at lights, you can't tell how far away a light is by looking at it. You'd have to know the size of it in order to determine that. It's the only way you can determine the distance. And if you're going to tell me this astronomical unit, the AE, where's my tattletales at? There we go. Let me bring this up. So you're going to tell me that it's easy to know how far away the sun is. How far away is it really? Let's take a look at this from anybody out there. What are you trying to put in there, D-Money? You're spamming up my chat. Stop doing that, whatever it is you're doing. N-I-G-G. Oh, isn't that clever? Why would you want to come in here and do that. Somebody get rid of that clown, please. So here's their exact science, right? You got Copernicus comes up with 3 million miles. Then you end up with this guy, Tycho Brahe, which I find his model to be very interesting. And if you apply that to the flat Earth, it could still work. But I want to look into it a little more. So Brahe said 13 million miles. Kepler, who I believe killed Brahe, he said the same thing because he killed Tycho Brahe and took his work. Newton said 28 million. Then he did it again and he had to double it. In his second attempt, damn near double it. Then he had Martin in 54. Said it's 81, 82, who knows? Maybe. What the difference? It's only millions, yeah? Then we had Encke in 1869, comes up with 95 million. Then you got this guy Meyer, comes up with 104 million. And then finally we come up to this guy Arball, who is M. Ball's uncle, I guess, with 92 to 93 million miles. Now, that's not bad, man. It's only 100 million miles worth of difference from start to finish, man. I mean, yeah, science, you guys. Science. That's what we got going on there. Holy sheep shit. You know? Keith got a double timeout. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Was that one guy on Family Guy? Oh no. I'm odd for Globebusters. I'm odd like Bob did. Our agreement when he wrenched me, any fucker, he instantly got banned. Family friendly was his wish. You know, wouldn't say I'm altogether family friendly. I mean, I do get a little bit coarse up here. And all right, so we're gonna ban that guy. You're gone, history, buddy. There we go. Why do the people do that? You know, why do people do that? I don't get it. Agents of Legion, I would have to say. Definitely agents of Legion. So I don't think that they've got, the sun never changes size in angular size, right? They say, oh, you never see it change size. It's fucking bullshit, man. Check this out. There's one size, and here's what I find interesting. Look at the way the clouds are. Look at the way the clouds react to the light when we see it, right? Oh my God. Good thing that sun don't change size. Oh, for fuck's sake, look, grew again. I also like the way that he totally liked to misrepresent the word respiration. Respiration is a term known in ecoscience or earth sciences as the process of not only exchange of gases between organisms, but also the continuous pressure fluctuations due to temperature, condensation, and evaporation. It's all part of the cycle that happens right here at the lower part of Earth. Okay? That's called respiration. It's also called respiration when you breathe for exactly the same reason. But it doesn't just mean breathing. So I thought it was funny as shit that he's, oh, you don't know the definition of respiration. Motherfucker, I remember that shit from 8th grade, man. Come on. I remember that. And I thought it was really interesting where they showed that entire cycle, that whole respiration cycle and everything that occurs in it. It involves photosynthesis. It involves the condensation and evaporation of water, the exchange of gases between organisms. There's a lot of stuff going on down here, man. And it's not just the animals and shit you can see. You don't even halfway. Did you know that most of the oxygen in our atmos that we breathe is produced by algae in the ocean? That's where most of the oxygen, the forests contribute, but there's vast amounts of algae in the ocean that's causing this production of gases and exchange of gases, right down to the microorganism level, all the way up to us colossal animals, right? The smallest mycelium, all the way up to the biggest mushroom, the smallest little bit of grass or flora compared to even the big mighty oak. A big field of grass is doing this exchange of gases. It's happening all the time. Evaporation, condensation, exchange of gases. And that process is called respiration, Craig. And you correcting me was just your desperation, Craig. Because you know you can't back up none of your shit without insults and interruptions. That's all you got. This is what they do. They put this goddamn formula in. They have to slip their little G in here for like the buoyancy formula. So let's go down here and see what the G actually does. Gravitational acceleration. Well, ain't you jumping the gun by putting an adjective onto it? So it looks like we could actually use a lowercase a. It doesn't need an adjective to it, does it? What's that gravitational acceleration going to be? It's going to be, of course, the weight. And of course, as we all know here, that weight is nothing more than the relative density of an object within a given medium. And another one gone and another one gone. And just found the debate randomly and followed both of them. Cool. Tin Man, just a Tin Man. Oz never gave nothing to the Tin Man. Right? So what's this G going to end up be? What number are you going to plug in there? The amount something weighs. But they got to slip it in there as a G, don't they? They got to slip that bullshit in there. Keep that force in your mind. Right? And I don't like the term buoyant force. Okay? Because there is no buoyant force. Displacement is the force. Here we got it here in the buoyancy formula, right? P times F, V times G. What's the G? Oh, standard gravity, 9.806 meters per second squared, which is standard. It's not exact, and it's only in a vacuum. So I think you might be off a little bit. You might end up off a little bit. Why don't we just use weight, which is, of course, see, they just got to slip that dumb shit in there on you every fucking chance they get. This is cool. Ryan made this and sent it to me. Hang on a second. Where'd the rest of it go? There it is. Let me pause it for a second and put this up. He's been making these little clips that are pretty cool. I'm going to bring this up. Oh, it's ours. Of course not.
The documents to the imagery, they are not flying around a curve heading to outer space. They are flying over a stationary, flat plane. Stop falling for the illusions. Every rocket goes up and then levels out. No triangle. Well, besides the occasional. I'm not shy about showing the truth in plain sight.
The sudden unscheduled disassembly.
125 alleged miles up, and they show you our level horizon with a local sun. Then quickly switch cameras to their fisheye lens, as if that didn't just happen. You have to pick one. You can't have both. Looks as if their cameras go about as high as most hot air balloons do before they burst. Who do they think they're fooling? But let me guess. You saw the curvature in the images from satellites.
So what's the matter, Steve? You trying to get on the show and keep getting an error message? I don't know why that would be. The link is good. It's been used already. Somebody come up here using it. Clicking on it myself one time here. Yeah, it's working, dude. I don't know. Are you using Chrome? Chrome has a lot of bugs in it. Try using a different browser. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would definitely do. But here's I want to see, can I find that? Let me see real quick. It'd be in the downloads here. Might have. Okay, so I sent that from my phone. And let me see. I think I sent that to Jaron. It's a really cool picture. Yeah, I should save some of these. Damn it, where is it? Well, I know where it's at. I'll find it in just one hot second. I'll do this. So I've got, I'll send it to Ryan because he'd like to have this. I'm sure he would. Let me see. Where is that? Oops. Nope. I didn't want that one. Hate how it picks shit for you. Where is that damn thing? There was a comparison of these rockets hitting and what bullets look like when you shoot them into water. And it's like identical to what we're seeing here on the ground when these things go up there. I'm trying to remember where the hell I did with that. I might have sent it to him a long time ago. Well, I might just have to go look for that one again. I wanted to show it to you, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. That pisses me off. What's this? The wife sent me something. Okay, so my wife just sent me this thing. It says somebody posted, said, when a guy tells me he owns a gun, I'm like, oh, what's wrong with your dick? And this guy answered and said, last time I tried to use my dick on a home intruder, I got in way more trouble. The cops were pretty upset. The intruder needed counseling, and I'm on a list. Just use a gun. You may have already seen the picture. I'm not sure where I've put it yet, and I just came across it recently of bullets being fired into water, and it compares them right alongside pictures of that rocket when it hits that shit in that meeting. Who's afraid? This guy is a ward. What kind of an award, Landon? Afraid. Who's afraid? Who's afraid? We try to take afraid to talk to Craig. I just talked to Craig. Well, no, I listened to Craig. I didn't really talk to him. Craig is trying to get on. Nobody has popped up backstage. No one has had a problem coming up on stage. Craig has not tried to come up on my panel. Shut the fuck up, troll. Jesus Christ. So he's welcome to click that link and come up here anytime he wants. Yeah, exactly, Iron Horse. Well, he's not trying very hard because anybody can do it. No longer on the ball. Click that link and come up for a minute and prove that it's possible to be done. You ain't got to stay long. Iron Horse, one of y'all. Sean, anybody else that's been up here any other time? Feel free. Greg, I know some people that I've had on here can attest to the link. I just checked the link. The link works. So yeah, whatever, dude. You're full of shit. Yeah, I saw somebody said they got an error message. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell him. I don't have anybody blocked. There's one mind, one spirit. Device is not connected yet, but he's working on it, I would imagine. A lot of times, guys, if you're using Chrome, Chrome's a bad browser for this. There's Greg. Do you have any problems getting on? Did you get an error message?
Nope, not at all. I'm
Yeah.
I'm focused on the messages, trying to block these idiots.
Yeah, man, it's they're starting to come in and bomb, ain't they?
Yep.
There's no longer on the ball. He didn't have no problem.
Nope.
And go figure.
So I'm going to jump off and guard.
All right, Greg, thanks.
You've got quite the infestation of degenerate trolls today.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that sad that they have to act that way just because they think the earth is a ball instead of flat? I mean, me personally, you know how they say what's the matter if it's flat or not? I'd say it's both. It doesn't matter and it matters. Because it doesn't matter, because if you drive your car across town, if it's flat or a ball, you know, it really doesn't matter. And
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're going to go to work on Monday, if it's flat or round. But why it does matter is because basically there's certain people in this world that you can't trust because all they've done is lie to you. That's it. It doesn't mean, come on, say the NIGG crap in the chat and a bunch of stupid degenerate stuff. Come on, you guys. What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, that's the only thing. And I look at it like this: when I start getting a bunch of those fuckers coming over, it's like, you know, the when you're over the target, you get the most flack. And that's what happens, right? So when they'd send a squadron of bombers over to bomb a specific target, the plane that was right in line ready to bomb on that target was the one all the guns were set on. All the guns would get set on that one to keep him from being able to drop his bombs. So I look at it like, well, thank you for exemplifying my point. You know, you've shown that that's all you have, that you're worried about the things that I say. And like that guy, he wanted to act like he was all smart and bullshit, but he wasn't, because he never did answer my question. When I asked him to demonstrate a downward acceleration of air, he never could do it. He went on to other bullshit.
Yeah.
I was so hoping he'd show that closed apparatus
He
for
said
the
air
fucking
rushed up.
Cavendish experiment.
He said air rushes up or something. It's like, well, if there's something going up, then there's something going down. That wasn't flat versus globe. It was testosterone versus estrogen, man.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe that, man.
That guy,
Charles, did you just call yourselves a troll, Charles Arnold? He is. He's of course a troll. That's all he's gonna.
Angels.
That's all he'll ever be, too. I bet he's got a really miserable life. You know.
Well, he can see what kind of company he has on his side there by looking at the chat here. Hopefully, it'll wake him up someday.
Yeah, it might be Tim Bob. It might be Tim Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Timmy! I can get rid of him in 2 seconds. He tries to come up here. I just go, well, prove to me that you're an actual human and show yourself on camera. He will not do it. He will not. He is so afraid for people to see him that he will not turn his camera on. And I tell him, I'm not going to bring you on until you show yourself on camera, because I don't believe you're a real person at all. That's what I tell him. And it's like, he won't pass my CAPTCHA test, then he doesn't get to come up here. Especially given the experiences I've had with this character. Holy God, man.
Mm-hmm.
Why hate on Timothy Robert? We're not. We're hating on Timmy Bob. Timmy! Because Timmy's a douche canoe. That's why. That's why. I mean, it's pretty funny, man. It's pretty funny. Because that in his whole thing, I'm trying to explain it, and I'm thinking, when are you going to get to the actual answer to my fucking question? All you've done so far is sit there and talk about how I don't get this and I don't understand that, and how you memorized this and went to this fucking book or whatever the fuck else. And it's like, that's not even anything that I ask you at all. I said, demonstrate a downward acceleration of air due to gravity. You can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fucking do it. Even if you contain it, you're not going to get that 9.8. And when you do that in a fucking vacuum, all it's really falling is the balloon, not the gas. The gas is trapped in the object that's falling. That's all.
Here it
Once
comes
you take away the balloon, does the gas stay in a shape of a balloon or stay down there at the bottom of the chamber? Nope. Immediate. So no, I'm not buying it. That whole concept. And I couldn't believe it. We saw it on Wikipedia even. It says the pressure of the Earth's atmosphere is due to gravity pulling down on the air. And I'm like, no, man, it's displacement. It's displacement. Everybody knows it's displacement. It's always been displacement. That's why you get pressure on you underwater. It's not because you have this water pushing down on you. If that was the case, why doesn't it just fucking sink you? Right?
Yeah. Oh, this is funny. I was in the chat there, while you were doing your thing on germs. It got into some sort of argument about what level means. Because they say that level's got a curve in it or something. So I just said, well, what the hell? I'll look it up, because I know the Wikipedia, the Sheepopedia has been poisoned to say horizon involves a curve. So I thought, let me look up the definition of level. So I found it in Merriam's Webster dictionary, and I copied and pasted that and put that in the chat on Jaren's channel, and someone told me I was wrong. And they said, well, how about looking up in the dictionary? So I said I did, and I gave them the link, and then they vanished. It was hilarious.
Here we go.
There you go. There goes Jeff, another sock account for this degenerate troll.
Well, that's all right. He can make sock accounts all fucking night long. That's his thing. We'll just keep banning him. It's not that bad.
No. But yeah, type 2 Control F and find the word curve.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's do that. Hang on. I'm going to hit the Control plus, and the what? Control F.
Yeah, to find on that page.
All right. Wait a second. That's not working for me.
Okay. Well, then just scroll down the page.
Yeah. All right. So a device for establishing a horizontal line. Right there is a line and arc. No, it isn't.
Scroll down until you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Where am I going?
Scroll down until you see level adjective. Verb. Keep going right there.
Okay. Having no part higher than another. Well, that's
conforming to a curvature. My bad. Did I just bring in the wrong place?
Conforming to the curvature of a liquid parts of the Earth's surface, but that goes against this first part. This is what's contradictory.
Yeah,
having no part higher than another. Now, how do you not have a part higher than another with an arc?
Oh, scroll down further. Choose the right synonym for level. Keep going.
Oh, adjective.
Right
Even,
there.
Plain.
Keep going a little bit. Choose the right synonym right there.
We go.
The first thing, level.
Flat, plain, even, smooth. Yep. Having a surface without bends, curves, or irregularities. That's why I'm saying this right here contradicts itself right off the bat when it says, let's see, that's what it is, a measurement in the difference of altitude. So level is, let's see.
So no wonder these the poor heliosexuals are confused.
Right. Well, yeah, their information is wrong and they don't have the brains to figure it out. Here it is right here, having no part higher than another, and then says conforming to the curvature of a liquid parts of the Earth's surface. Well, that's not an altogether lie,
Right.
because there is no curvature to the liquid parts of the Earth's surface. So otherwise, it would be contradicting itself.
Otherwise, you'd be able to measure it and see it from
Right.
an airplane.
I mean, an arc. Is one part of an arc higher or lower than another part? Yeah. 100%. That's, and an arc is not a line. Where did it say that up here about it being a line? A horizontal line or plane, not an arc, right? That shows adjustment to the horizontal by movement of the center of a slightly bowed glass tube, a measurement of the difference in altitude of 2 points. So wait a second, if you're on a globe and you're at 10,000 feet here, that means you're at a higher altitude compared to over here. So you can't be in level flight if you're in a constant arc. I don't see that happening. An approximately horizontal line or surface taken as an index of altitude, horizontal, a practically horizontal surface or area as of land. See, these, when they start putting a curve in there right off the bat, it contradicts itself. To make a line or surface horizontal, a line is not an arc. See that? So no wonder they are fucked in the head. You're right, Joel.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I mean, right here, even, flat, plane. Those right there, flat, plane, plane. Planes are not arcs. Planes are not spheres. Planes are not domes. Planes are planes. They're level. They're flat.
Topographical planes, as in not completely flat, has bumps and valleys, mountains and little dips and stuff.
That's why I call it, I say the Earth is a level, stationary, topographical plane contained within a fluid dynamic system, a dynamic fluid system.
Plane applies to any real or imaginary flat surface.
In which a straight line between any 2 points on it lies wholly within that surface. So a line, there's a line and arc. No, lines and arcs are different things. This is why this spherical triangulation, spherical triangle is an angle, an arc, or a line. It's a line, not an angle. A line is a line. An arc is an arc. An angle is a line. Now you have degrees that measure both, but that doesn't mean because a line has degrees and an arc has degrees that those degrees mean the same thing. They're degrees away from 90, which is an arc. Okay, that's where those measurements come from lines that go from 90. You have an X and a Y axis. You have the horizontal, you have the vertical. Okay, that's all. And your Z axis in all directions that you look. That's all. Here's Frank Crumb. Who's going to get him first? I'm going to ban that guy right off the bat. He really obsessed with that, wanting to get that word in there, isn't he? He's really obsessed with that shit. I don't understand what the obsession with that is. Maybe he's a rapper. Those guys say that word a lot, I know. They really do. Everything, man. Every other word in a lot of those songs is that. So, wow. Yeah, so just because the ministry of truth changed the definition, we can easily see the contradictions within itself from where they tried to change it, because they're trying to mix lines and arcs, and you can't. The only time a line and an arc have anything to do with one another is when you're measuring radially from the center, or if it's a tangent. So according to them, level is just a tangent point on a ball, but at the same time having no parts higher or lower than the other. How is that even possible? How does that not a contradictory statement? It's
Exactly.
it's completely contradictory to itself, but they just go by what it says, and they're looking for what they want it to say. Most importantly, they're looking for what they want it to say and not really dissecting it like we just did, going, wait a second, that contradicts itself.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I wanted to show him. That's why I kept telling him, put that fucking definition back up there, because I'm going to show you how it contradicts itself. He did not want me to see that. He wanted to keep going over to that early 19th century surveyor book, which I am sure was talking about geodetic surveying and not planar surveying, because by the very definition, planar surveying deals with a plane, and a plane is not a fucking arc. So, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to follow up on all that stuff. I mean, I've been getting buried with stuff, and plus a lot of this stuff is going over my head, so I'm kind of getting stalled out on some of these things. But yeah, I've been really trying to get into the theodolites and things like that. As far as I can understand it, people like Ruhif and things, really what they're doing is abusing their instrument.
You're going to go blind.
You're gonna go blind, exactly. Yeah, because they have these limitations to their that are in the manuals, and the reason there's a limit to it is because they know that your accuracy is going to go in the toilet. And so when you go 100 times further than the limit, you got to figure you're going to be at least 100 times, or some sort of exponential amount of accuracy is going to be in the toilet.
Tanner, I don't know what kind of problem you're having, bro. Everybody else has been able to pop up here, just no problems at all. The only time I've ever seen any kind of glitches with this shit is when they're using the Chrome browser, but I think StreamYard took care of that glitch.
Why the hostility exactly, Tanner? Why such hostility? Why are the Globers coming on and trying to say that everybody's stupid and idiots and NIGG words? Yeah, it's pretty degenerate, Tanner. I'm not sure what their problem is. Who cares if it's actually flat or curved? Yeah, exactly. Cool. I'm glad you agree.
So what you're saying,
there's
then,
a lot of people that totally don't agree with that. And they're coming in here and just making new accounts and coming in here and trying to spam off racist remarks and degenerate remarks. It's really sad for the globe side.
I don't have any problem with words. I really don't. I don't care what word somebody says or anything else like that. I really don't. I do care about the YouTube guidelines and that I could be responsible or held responsible for that kind of thing. But taking the appropriate action is always goes in your favor, and we're doing that. If we were on a totally uncensored platform, I would be whatever, say whatever the fuck you want to. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's your business.
Yeah.
One Mind, One Spirit said he didn't have one mic. He was trying to come up. But Tanner, I don't know. Try a different browser or something. I don't know. Are you using an Apple phone? Those things suck, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not a brand person, or anything else like that. But just the number of people that I see bitching about their fucking Apple phones versus people with bitching about their Android phones, it's way out. There's a lot of people upset. No problem, Lisa. No problem. I gave Lisa a nice bud the other day. When I went over there. So yeah, she's a really cool lady. She's got a little apothecary here in Stanley. It's pretty cool. She makes baked goods too. Really cool. Wrenches are bringing down Thor's hammer. Absolutely.
Usually they don't do anything for months and months and months on end, and then you get on to Felicia, the fairy elves debate, and then all of a sudden the chat is getting full of
Hmm.
racist comments. It's just kind of funny how that works.
Well, it's like, I think that if you are hurt, and this is my view on with censorship. Now, you should be able to govern yourself and not use coarse language and shit like that around kids, But my show's not for kids, right?
Yeah.
So you should be able to self-censor yourself in that regards. But I'm of the belief that if you can be hurt by mere words, then you're weak. You're weak mentally, because everything's a contract and it's up to you whether or not you accept it, man.
I mean, curse words aren't banned on YouTube, right?
No, not too bad. I mean, overabundance of them can get you like, you don't get monetized and, put down further in the feed or anything else like that. But no, the one thing they don't want you talking about the people that control us. You can't name any specific groups. You can't, because they have a loose interpretation of this made up term called hate speech. That's what who gets to determine that? And when I found out, it's just basically means it's speech that you hate, right? Because there again, it's subjective whether or not it's hate speech. So then they use that to include any kind of racial slurs. You can't talk about the small hats. You can't, there's just certain things that, because it's run by this Marxist crowd, you have to kind of play in their ball field if you're going to be out there. It's just that simple. I could go ahead and say whatever the hell I want to and blah, 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 but then in a very short period of time, I'm not going to be here anymore. Okay, so I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to stay here for as long as I possibly can and get this message out to as many people as possible. Some of it, yeah, there could be a lot. I have an organization called POOP, and it stands for People Offended by Offended People. And I take offense to people that take offense. That offends me when people are offended. In fact, me being offended by people being offended offends me. That's how well this thing works. So it's kind of like, toughen up cream puff is our motto.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I just have to keep on saying this. People like your channel here, I mean, we all love it. Maybe not Craig's channel, but everybody loves it. The thing is YouTube is cracking down on people who don't break these terms. They keep on coming up with new terms, and then they write you and tell you you're breaking terms of service, even though they won't tell you what you've broken. And you could review your video and you find out you haven't broken any terms, but they made up new terms, such as spreading dangerous misinformation or conspiracy theories. Spreading dangerous conspiracy theories is what Iron Realm Media just got an email about.
No way.
They are under review for spreading dangerous conspiracy theories.
Oh my God. What's dangerous about them?
I don't know.
Holy
shit. I guess,
well, what's he been talking about? Has he been encouraging his audience to do radical things? Or, I mean, what?
I mean, maybe to use their own minds or their own eyes or something. And maybe that's dangerous to YouTube now. And moral of the story is I guarantee it, much as it breaks my heart, but I guarantee it, all of us, all these guys, all of us are going to be taken off that platform. The platform is going to end up being only for, not us.
Marxist propaganda.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we got to get it out there as much as we can. We get enough people out there where we don't need the internet, because people be talking about it in the streets as well. And that's what it takes, man.
Celtic Hammer. I'm not sure if he got one of his videos blocked. I think he's actually had possibly several in the past in the history. I'm not sure, but he definitely got demonetized, and he has tried multiple times to get, he's tried to get them to explain why, and they won't. But yeah, he's been.
Yeah, they won't. They won't explain why. They just have their marching orders as to who they're supposed to shut up.
One.
That's as far as it goes. Burn the Corporate Fiction says that they are dangerous to the elite agenda for human enslavement. And this is what gets me. It's fucking slaves that are doing it. This is slaves that are protecting it.
Yep.
And I just like, what the hell, man? You're what a case of Stockholm syndrome. What, you think that you're going to be in the club by doing that? No way. They'll throw you under the bus as quick as shit. They need to. That's just like these people always wanting to kiss up to the cops and shit. And then they, don't understand why they got their ass beat and shit by the cops. They're like, but I always supported the police. And it's like, yeah, well, that was dumb, wasn't it?
You know what the trick with the police is? It's like if somebody's got some problem with somebody else, and let's just say it's a civil discourse, who cares? You threw a stick into my yard. No, you threw a stick. Basically, you want to quote unquote win. Basically, be the first to call them, because then the jarheads will come in without and disregard the law, and they'll get you for it. Because why? It all means money to them, and that's all it is.
Yes.
It's money. It's not law. It's not justice. It's not to serve and to protect. It's to figure out a way to get money. And that's why you don't want to deal with the police unless it's basically to call them to sick them on someone else who's basically threatening to call the police on you. Be the first one.
Ryan says, Ryan in here said that they love the taste of leather. And I'm like, yeah, they're bootlickers. But, here's the thing right here. A lot of people in there, again, you never hear about this. When they're telling you about Einstein, all these people have to say is how wonderful and bullshit that he did. And he's a brilliant mind and a wonderful scientist and all this shit, right? And, take a look at this right here. All right. A lot of people don't know this. It says in 1931, 100 prestigious Austrian and German scientists contributed to a book entitled, what is it here? 100 Autorigen gegen Einstein, in which they denounced Albert Einstein and accused him of leading science into the realm of pseudo-mysticism, abstraction, and speculation. A lot of people don't know that. It was like, no, there's a bunch of people, where's your, people that completely disagreed with him, but due to a really good PR campaign, and propaganda, and of course the Rockefeller controlled school system.
That's right.
Holy shit. So here we have 2 generations, 3 generations later, people going, oh, that guy was brilliant, selling posters of him. People think that they're intelligent by having a picture of him sticking his tongue out at you, mocking you on their wall. I mean, fuck.
Wearing high heels, marrying your cousin. That's the definition of relativity, is marrying your own cousin. Well, and his cousin on both sides of the family, too.
Who was really this? Who was that other character? Where did I get that from? Just a second. I gotta show that on here. Let's see. Is this it? Oh no, that's the Antarctic Treaty. They always say, no, you can't. You can go to Antarctica. I got the shit for that too. Where was that? Jaron had sent that to me, and I downloaded them. They were screenshots. Maybe I got them on my phone.
Gotta put that stuff on the wiki so you can find it easy, man.
Yeah, I know. I gotta stop fucking procrastinating. Shit's what I gotta do. That's not always easy for me. But anyways, it was basically that Einstein never had sex with a woman. and he considered himself, he was really he was an odd duck, man. And he considered himself asexual, which I guess means that he thought he could reproduce himself. Isn't that what that means?
Oh,
No, I know that
that puts some
Newton.
nasty images into my head.
Yeah, right. Well, I know that he dabbled into a lot of crazy shit as an alchemist. He ate mercury, which made him crazy. He ate mercury, and he was like half fucking nuts. He wrote these deranged letters to people and shit. Yeah, he was a lunatic.
Yeah,
But maybe the creation of a homunculus is why he considered himself a asexual. Because some of that shit
people are saying that.
involves some pretty creepy, nasty shit involved with that, man.
Yeah, the chat's saying I think that's Newton, and I think Newton was the
Yeah,
alchemist
Newton.
as well.
That's who I said, Newton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, not Einstein. I thought I'd mentioned that was Newton. Oh no, because I was going to show you the article about it. But there again, another guy that they just say, "Oh, what a great fucking scientist this guy is!" Right?
Yeah.
This guy is really the best, And it's like he wasn't even a fucking scientist, really. He was an alchemist, a pseudoscientist at best.
It's a transformer.
What's that about the transformer?
Flat Sabbath. He was a transformer.
He was transformer. Yeah, no doubt, right? But yeah, Newton was a real fucking wackadoodle. I think Einstein was another wackadoodle. You never see him speaking, man. It's always him reading. I don't even have to show it to you, but I mean, I've got a video clip of him, and it is like even stumbles on his own formula while he's reading it. He has E, and he looks back at the paper, equals MC squared. And it's like, almost like it was the first time he'd ever seen it. That's the way he was acting. I'm trying to remember where I had that at. It's probably in that other download folder. Damn it. I know how to get that.
So maybe they would take, flat earthers more seriously if we wore high heels and, thought we were asexuals and married our own cousins and happened to belong to a Jesuit religious group, secret society. Maybe they would take flat earther a little more serious that way, because that seems to be what they need.
There really seems to be a lot of miscreants in that group. I mean, I look at these people and I'm like, I mean, Brenda, for instance, I'm like, what in the fuck? You don't even know what kind of clothes to wear, much less where you live. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
I can't even wrap my mind around that. Let me see. Is that guy? Let me see. I can do a search. Einstein. Yeah, there he is. Found it. All right. So like here, now watch this crazy fucker. He even stumbles over his own formula as he's reading this. He's not speaking.
I don't know about Big Daniel. I think that's probably why the name change.
So check this out. Watch him. He's like,
the special theory of relativity that mass and energy are but different manifestations of the same thing. A somewhat unfamiliar conception for the average mind. Furthermore, the equation E is equal mc squared, in which energy is such equal to mass multiplied with the square of the velocity of light, showed that very small amount of mass may be converted into a very large amount of energy, and vice versa. The mass and energy were in fact equivalent, according to the formula mentioned above. This was demonstrated by Kokra and Brighton in 1932.
I mean, It's your story, bro. Why don't you just tell it? Why do you have to read this shit and you're stumbling over it as though it's like the first time you've ever read it? I mean,
Yeah, you never see Einstein actually just talking at a podium. He's always
no,
reading something.
every
He's
time, man.
totally set up. I don't know what powers he had, what favors or what relationship he had to these, controllers, but it had to have been pretty big
Let's see, what's this do?
for him to be able to be put on the stage like that and just sit there and read papers and have all this historic godlike status given to him.
No doubt, right? And it's like, yeah, that's what I say, a massive PR. And we already know through previous shows on here where this PR is coming from, right? Who vowed to infiltrate the universities and the sciences and all this other shit? The Jesuits, man. The Jesuits.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a lot of power because these guys is nothing off the books. They can disguise themselves as Jews. They can disguise themselves as Protestants. They can disguise themselves, whatever, but they're still in that order. And they've sworn that vow. And this is the mission, part of the mission of the Jesuits. The whole thing was to disprove the Bible, believe it or not, so that people would obey the authority of the church and not what it says in the Bible.
Yeah, I think they had their fingers in that too to mess things around, but still, it's just like everything else. They got to control both sides, just like the flat Earth versus globe Earth. If they have to not only make fun of flat Earth, but they also have to make their own little societies to steel man the flat Earth and have these things like the Flat Earth Society.
Yep.
And then they put these perverted creeps up front saying the stupidest things, and then it's like, then that way they can put PRs out there that the flat earthers out there are acting insane.
Yes.
Or talk weird and to make up some horseshit.
Yep. That's the trick, man. That's the trick. And look, I wanted to keep that fucker stuck on that with the gas behavior. I really did. I wanted him to. That's a stick. That's a big one. That's a huge thing. That really is. People don't understand why that's so important. Because it dispels the idea of gas or mass attracting mass, because they're claiming that air has weight or mass or something, but only in a contained environment. Is this true? You can never pin them. They never want to go there. That's why he kept wanting to change the subject. This is why he kept wanting to change the subject. And it's real simple. I should have asked him. I said, what three types of thermodynamic systems are there? And there's isolated, open, and closed. Okay. So what is the Earth? If he says it's an open system, then we can't have air. If he says it's a closed system, we can't go to space. And I think that it may very well be an isolated system. I don't have any way of knowing. But I know it's definitely closed. It has to be. Because if you can freely exchange matter between the two places, then it's open. And if gas is matter, then it's going to go there too, especially given the dynamics of the way of gas behavior. So you can't have it be both ways. It can't be an open and a closed system. That's like having something that's both wet and dry. It's not. Okay. You can't have two opposite things be the same. So I should have pinned him down on. I was wanting to get him in there and into the three types of thermodynamic systems, and wasn't able to get there because he takes up all this fucking time. I mean, if you cut out all the parts where it was just him minimizing my intelligence and mocking me and telling me I don't understand and blah, 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 away from the actual points he was making or the answers to my question that he was giving, there ain't shit there. There's nothing there at all. So that's what he did, is he just wants to insult, belittle, say you're stupid because you don't know my nonsense. What? That doesn't work. How? Because I'm not explaining your nonsensical non-experiment. How does that mean? What? It's
I
your
love
fucking experiment. You explain the goddamn thing.
I love how you pulled that one off on him. Honestly, that was the highlight of the show. And then Jaren's like, "Okay, let's move on." You're like, "Oh hell no! I'm going to stay right on this until I can get that."
Yeah, man.
I love it because that is so frustrating. The fact that these debates go in circles and then they move on, then they go in circles and they move on. No, you don't move on. That's just like flipping Congress. They have like an hour to talk about a subject, and if they don't resolve anything, they move to the next subject. No wonder our country's a mess. We never get any one thing resolved.
No, and we're constantly, what are we always doing? What are these politicians, what are they always going after? We're change and
Yep.
progress. Well, listen, if I'm traveling to Disney World, I'm progressing toward Disney World, but then pretty soon I get to fucking Disney World and I don't have to progress anymore. So when are we at a point where we have progressed? That's what I want to know. When do we get to this magical point where we've progressed and we're good now? That's it. We don't have to fucking change a thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
It's just some hopeful ideal that's never going to come about, because it's the old adage, you can't please everybody.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yep, they say, yeah, the old saying is no two people can be happy at the same time, you know?
Well, they can share happiness. I believe that. At the same time, I believe that. I think that's a frequency, but I mean, I'm talking about this idea of, that we're going to keep progressing. How are you? I've been hearing that since I was a little kid. And have we really progressed? No, just closer to the edge of a cliff. I mean, yeah, don't ever go to Disney World. Thank you, Renee. I was just using that as an analogy to, when do we know we've hit the destination? Or is this just a continuous fucking process and people believe it? Nobody bothers asking that question. They just hear, yeah, we're going to have some change. Well, change is not always good. Like if you get chopped in the arm by a sword or some shit, change has occurred, but it wasn't good, was it?
Yep. There you go. Proverbs 24:21. Do not associate with those who are given to change.
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yep.
I like it a lot.
And that's been, some of the miseries, growing up and stuff, going to work and, working for the man basically, is, there's turnover sometimes, and it's always in the bosses. The bosses will turn over and a new boss will come in. They want to change everything. And it just leaves you sick in the stomach. So you're trying to please the new guy, and they want to change everything out. And it's like, and then you watch them, and then they don't want to associate with you, the one who built everything, because you're the one that built it all. But that's because they want to change what's there. And so they sit there and they go and change everything around. They end up costing the company tons of money, because by the time they get all settled and done changing everything out, it doesn't work.
Right.
And then they come whining back to you, the people who built it that way, and probably because they get in trouble. And you just, and then you're like, okay, here, let's help you out. And it's like, why didn't you rely on your team to begin with?
Right.
And
Well, it's like, have you ever
happens all the
had one of
time.
those? Have you ever seen one of those mechanics? You take your car in there to get something fixed, and then shortly thereafter, something else goes wrong with the car, You got to take it back to the guy, and then there's something else goes wrong with the car, and you got to take it back to the guy. And pretty soon you come to the idea that this guy is actually fucking my car up while he's fixing one problem. He's setting it up to create another problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I'm more and more afraid to bring my car to the shops. In fact, maybe in a month's time about, I'm going to basically be pretty busy not being able to go to a lot of these shows and stuff because I just ordered a transmission for my truck and I got to get that thing working. It's a 72 Chevy C10 truck, short bed.
Mhm.
And it's a beautiful, here's another troll.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah, so I'll be working on that thing out there. But yeah, it just definitely getting to the point where, yeah, even my little Civic, it's like, take it in. I'm afraid they're going to mess something up because it gives them money, because you have to bring it back in and then you have to pay for their service again.
So it's Ryan, Dave, and who else? Yeah, and Ryan's brother Austin. We did a really good stream 3 nights ago. Y'all go over there and check that out. It was pretty good, man. Had a really good thing. But remember what I was asking? I was like, all this money that we're pouring into NASA and the European space and the JAXA, and like they're all different, right?
Yeah.
What have been the benefits, right? And here's the benefits. I'm going to show you all the benefits. This is it right here. Okay. This is what they do up in the fucking ISS that costs you all this ungodly amounts of money. You'd never live to see the amount of money that these people spend in a day, much less in the time of their existence. But let's go ahead and see how they're actually spending our extorted money.
Space station is a serious place. We're doing serious research, scientific research, and engineering research.
Boo!
Space station is a serious place. We're doing serious research, scientific research.
Today I want to demonstrate what happens when you cry in space, because I cry all the time. Take this ball of water here, and I'm going to put it on my eyeball. I don't know if you can see this ball of water. It's getting bigger. See, it doesn't fall down because I'm in space. It just sits there on my eye, and I gotta wipe it off. And wipe it off with a towel.
We're doing serious research, scientific research.
What the fuck, man? Gorilla suits and bagpipes is... Oh, yeah. And if the gravity causes air pressure, what's causing air pressure on their space station? If there's
Well,
no
surprised
gravity.
yet there wasn't a gravity pocket all of a sudden right there, which is surprising, because those can happen.
I'm going to tell you, Joel, I get into doing some serious science up here in this international fake station all the time, man. And you know my thing, I'm all about fluid dynamics and gas pressures, right? So we've been conducting experiment repeatedly on testing those principles out up here in this 0G environment all the time. In fact, I'm going to do one right now. This is experiment number. Well, I've forgotten how many we've done, but it's having consistent results. I apply the flame. I apply a vacuum to the inside of this tube, and smoke is drawn down through a glass stem into the water, which actually cools it, and then is drawn up into the stem into my lungs. So this is very interesting, very, very interesting experiment. This is heavy duty science, and it's definitely worth, that's part of what your money is going toward. Okay. A part of your money is going toward high grade weed for us to be able to smoke in the space station. So let's give this a try one time and see if we get the same results. Oh, and I learned something. We learned something. When I took away some of the constriction by removing this portion of it, I increased the flow of air into the stem, making it easier for it to travel through the area. That's really crazy. A lot of people don't know this too, but if you narrow a diameter of a cylinder or a pipe, you reduce the flow capacity exponentially. So, you know, when I was a kid, I'd hear somebody go, yeah, they checked my arteries and I got like 10% blockage. And I'm thinking, well, that's not very bad. That's not bad. But if you restrict a tube with fluid going through it, the volume, if you just take it down 10%, the volume capacity decreases exponentially. I used to have to use that formula all the time in my job, because what I had to do was we'd get these caster rolls from LTV Steel, Bethlehem. We repaired the casting rollers that are used in the process of making steel. And because of the extreme heat that these things are subjected to, they sometimes get cracks in the steel rollers that have to be not only detected because they're not always apparent on the surface. We had to detect them with ultrasound, determine how deep they were, how much of that section had to come out to get rid of that crack in each area of this roller. Then we would have to put it on this sub-arc welder that would turn that roll, and it would cause the welding head, every time there was one revolution, that the head would index like 3/4 of a bead width. You could set this shit and adjust it, and then it would eventually index and go back and then start the process all over. You had to start it all over, and you kept doing this until you built it back out. Now my job was to take those gouged out areas of a cylinder, calculate the amount of cubic inches of two different types of stainless steel to determine what the cost of fixing this roll was going to be. And in some cases, it was just cheaper to get a new roller and shit can this one. But in most cases, we were able to repair them at a much cheaper cost. So we would repair these rolls. You'd have all this welded up area. Immediately after this, because this is taking place, you don't just stop it and then come back. You can't. We'd be running 3 shifts, 8-hour shifts, 24 hours a day. These machines are running. Okay. And so this means that there's a great deal of heat, but in different areas, it's higher than in the other areas. So we had this big, huge oven. You'd have to hook up a crane and lift this thing out and move it into this oven that would reduce the temperature at a rate that would prevent it from warping, because you got something like that that's going to turn. If it's slightly crooked, it's going to fuck up and wobble, right? So then once that's done, take it from there. It would go to the machine shop, and it would be lathed down to the proper 60 micro inches of surface smoothness. and down to the certain diameter, some up from 448 millimeter to little 235 millimeter rolls. And this is, you have to increase the pressure in the casting process as you pour the metal down through it. And that's what these, it's not the mold that actually molds the steel. Like when you see an I-beam, it's coming out of the thing. Why is my thing acting up? Holy shit.
You sound fine, but yeah, your video is starting to
jerking all over the place, ain't I?
No, now it's better.
Yeah, it's fixed now. I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's weird. So anyway,
it's smoking weed at such high altitudes causing that.
It is. It's refractogravitational parallaxical conundrum. Yeah,
that's I mean, that's worth at least $80 million right there.
It was. But what I was going to say is when the mold, believe it or not, the mold where they, like when they cast out I-beams, right? They have, if you look at them from the edge, they look like from the end, they have an H shape to them. Well, that's the shape given to it by the mold as the metal is poured through there. But the mold is actually made of copper. And you're going, what? Steel's much hotter than copper when it's melted. Why doesn't it melt the copper fucking mold, right? It doesn't melt the mold because it continuously has water running over it. New water all the time. They got these Olympic-sized swimming pools, like full of water, several of them. And they're continuously reclaiming and pumping water up to this mold. And so what's happening is the water is actually acting as the mold, as it's following the outside of the water is following the content of, or the contour of the mold, and that water acting upon the steel is causing it to actually go into that shape. And it actually comes down and has to make a turn to come out level, but it's still hot. And then it's cooling as it comes down, going under thicker and thicker rollers until it's finally stable enough. And then it comes down to a thing that's called a dummy bar. It hits that dummy bar and the thing comes down and cuts it off. And then it's let off the thing, drug out, and let to cool, or into an oven to anneal it. So it's really quite an interesting process that we do. And for these idiots, I mean, they're like Craig. He's, you don't have an education. You don't know how to do anything. Motherfucker, that was my job. I just explained to you a very complex procedure that I was in charge of, and also figuring the cost of. I mean, sorry, bro. I got somebody named Cavendish experiment is back stage right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't let him on.
I think it's probably Timmy Bob, but it's Cavendish experiment. If you'd like to come up on the panel, turn on your camera. This is how I have the CAPTCHA. I have a CAPTCHA, right? Okay, now show yourself on the camera. You didn't let me finish. He turned his camera on, pointed up at the ceiling. So this is already, I know it's Timmy Bob. So if you want to come up here, you have to be on camera. That's your requirement, Cavendish experiment. Timmy Bob, Liam, Formula One fan, whatever the fuck your name is, that doesn't know where the hell he lives or anything else. So anytime you're ready to do that, I'll leave you backstage. You just go ahead and you click. Yeah, okay, camera works. Wonderful. Now put yourself on the camera. Your face. I want to see your face.
Plus that copper mold is super efficient at heat transfer.
So he shows me a fucking picture of Henry VIII. Get the fuck out of here, you clown. What's that you were saying no longer? About the copper?
Yeah, copper is super efficient at heat transfer as well. Mm-hmm. That's why they use it for heat sinks and stuff on computer parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. That was really a neat process. Of course, the making of the steel, I didn't do any of that part. I merely worked on those caster rolls that would, for slabs or girders or whichever it was sent to us. And the first thing we do, I mean, there's like segments, and these segments will have a certain amount of rollers in them, like 4, maybe 5, depending on the size. And this thing is a whole apparatus that's got piping and shit that's running to all these different areas. And I mean, it's really all contained. And I was concerned mostly with the caster rolls itself. So each one of those rollers has to be taken out of the segment. And then we would do ultrasound and magnetic resonance test on it to find cracks. And you'd find them inside these cracks. And you have to take care of them, because under those extreme conditions, those rollers have actually broken apart and caused a really bad problem with that hot molten steel just pouring out the side of a segment, ruining the entire segment. You know, the thing people don't know about these steel mills is that they run 24/7 all the time. You cannot shut a blast furnace down. It has to keep going. Once it's going, it has to keep going. And they have a life expectancy of about 7 to 9 years. Now, when it comes time that the thing's starting to wear out and they're going to have a new blast furnace, then what they have to do is they have to start somebody constructing it before they shut this thing down, get everything ready. And then they'll wait till like around Christmas. Or even they don't even have to wait till Christmas. They can do it whenever they want to, really. But a lot of times they try to wait around a holiday time, and they'll go ahead and lay off all the workers. You know, they're still collecting unemployment, right? And they're doing okay. They're still getting paid. They're just not working at the steel mill. So while that happens, what they do is they shut the furnace off and let it collapse in on itself, because that's what will happen. It'll fall in on itself. Remove the wreckage, install the new furnace, line it with the bricks, get it stoked and fired, and bam, everybody comes back to work. It's pretty interesting process, man. I helped build the world's second largest blast furnace for LTV steel. And it was built, and they took the segments we built, and these things were huge. And they were shipped to Indiana, to the LTV site, and that's where they put this thing up. It was the world's second largest. Of course, this was probably about 30 years ago. maybe a little longer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, about 30, 33 years ago. Yeah. Yep. It was a pretty cool. I got a great education just through the experience of doing it, you know. And it's not hard. Let's see if I can remember how that was. It was pi times the large diameter squared minus the small diameter squared divided by 4 times the length. And that's going to give you the cubic inches. And then I would have to calculate that down into pounds. So if you know that, for instance, 306 stainless steel weighs approximately 3.6, I think it was 3.06 pounds. No, it's $3.06 a pound. So yeah, you'd have to figure into what the cubic inches. I think it was 0.296 of a pound was 301 stainless. I used to have a chart that told me what the weight of a cubic inch of each one of these steels, because each one of them, of course, different materials in them. You're adding stuff to it when it's stainless steel. So it's going to be different than regular iron steel, you know. Other elements in there that are real rare, like vanadium, required for that. That's why U.S. stainless steel is better than like Pakistani stainless, is because we have vanadium. They don't use vanadium. And so consequently, it doesn't rust, but it will stain. So it isn't stainless.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now you've got a little basic understanding of some metallurgical things.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah, I could have used one of those things when I was working on the exhaust pipes for my truck. because I watched a video on YouTube. They had a guy who built himself a little rig, and it was, hand crank, and then it had an attachment of some sort, and he hooked it to a pipe, and then he clamped all this crap together, and then he had this welder, his MIG welder, or whatever it is, wire-fed welder, pointing it in the right spot, and basically he would just rotate his crank, this pipe run in a circle with this handle, and the welder would be turned on, and so he could get a nice smooth ring around the pipe. And I tried to do that without a rig, and oh my god, I made such a mess out of my exhaust pipes. I ground, then I rewelded and ground and rewelded so many times, and I finally just got the point where I don't give a shit what it looks like as long as it can hold water. And finally stopped squirting out water out the side eventually. I'm like, okay, ship it.
Plugged her up, baby. I fixed it.
So yeah, my poor truck.
Yeah, I'm going to address this question, and I'll get back onto that because I used to put together catalytic converter systems too. Joey Poyle, is it Poyle? Yeah, it says, and because biblical FE can't prove a dome separating the waters, it makes them both arguments mute. No, here's the thing. I can prove that there is containment for the simple matter of this. You cannot have a volume of gas without containment. Ever. That is the only way to get a volume of gas. And the only way to have a gas pressure is to have that volume in containment. That's all. There's no other way to have it. So do I have to show it to you? Do I have to know what it's made out of to know that it must exist? No. And here's a good analogy of that. I'm going to thank Flatzoid's perspective for this one. Whether it's his original, I think it originally might have even come from Nathan Oakley. I don't know. It's a great analogy. If I have a T-bone steak in front of me, I do not need to see the cow that it came from to know that the steak came from a cow. It's a fucking T-bone steak. It had to come from a cow. So I don't have to see the cow. I don't have to know who brought up the cow. I don't have to know any of that nonsense at all to know that it must exist. And until someone can prove otherwise of how gas behavior works, showing me a volume of gas without containment, and don't try to say, oh, well, you're in it. No, it has to be contained in order for it to exist. Okay. So what you were saying on that, another thing too, is we used to use, we have Brenda Debates is backstage. I'll bring her up here in just a moment. But here's I used to weld together catalytic converters for Ford. The company I worked for contracted this out to make catalytic converters for Ford. And, they left already. Okay. So it was really cool. They're back. All right. So what happens is you've got a jig that you set up with these different pipes. They all come from different areas of the shop. One guy makes this kind of a pipe, and all these parts come to you, and you have to put them together in this jig so that they work out to be in orientation as to where they're supposed to be to one another. And then you run it through and weld it. And it was stainless steel welding, which is more difficult than mild steel. Trust me, it's persnickety as all shit. So anyway, we get these things, and every one you weld together, you put it in this cage. And then it would go to the next step, was this place called the pressure test booth. And this guy would test every one of them. And what he would do is he would put a stopper up in the one end of it. And sometimes there was two stoppers, and it was hooked up to a gauge. And then his thing was sealed against the table on the bottom. And all you do is just put it on this thing, pull down these two plugs, put them in there. They're hooked up to a pressure gauge, turn on the pressure, and they have to hold a certain amount of pressure. Well, if there's any kind of a hole or a leak in it, it doesn't even get close. It just starts spewing out. So you look all just by moving your finger around, you can find where the hole's at. And most oftentimes we had a welder right there that was just a little MIG welder, and it would identify the hole, and just go like that, hit it, plug it up, and then test it again. But there you would see the difference just a little tiny hole would make. It wouldn't even get up to the pressure because it was rapidly escaping out of that hole, and it would get worse and worse as you turn the pressure up. So anyway, we got Brenda Debates. Is it truly Brenda Debates, or is it our friend Timmer acting like Brenda Debates? Hello, you're on.
It was a great show. Craig just completely humiliated you.
Really?
Just totally. So what was your proof for containment again? Could you just spell that out?
The proof of containment? Because it's impossible. Yeah, my proof of containment is the fact that we have pressurized air.
Well, that's not a proof.
Yeah, it is.
What's the proof?
Yeah, well, can you demonstrate a gas pressure without containment? Can you demonstrate a volume of a gas without containing it?
You said you had a proof.
That is proof.
No, your proof of containment is that you have to have containment?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a proof.
Yes, it is.
Right? No, it's not.
Wait a second. Do I have to see a picture of a cow in order to know that a T-bone steak came from a cow?
Your proof of containment is that gas requires containment.
Do I need a picture
That's
of a
the
cow?
stupidest, most ignorant thing I've heard in forever.
Do I need a picture of a cow in order to prove that my T-bone steak is from a cow?
If you have a T-bone steak, you don't know if it came from a cow. Maybe it was grown in a lab. Maybe it was lab-grown meat.
Okay. No, it's certified.
Well, could it be?
Wait a second. The menu said, and when I bought it at the store, it said that it was
That doesn't prove that what it is.
Wait a second, Brenda, you're really going off in the weeds. You missed the point completely. Now you're getting
No, the fact that the label you got at the store says it's beef, that doesn't mean it's beef.
So
you fucking moron.
So I would need to see a picture of the cow to verify that it's beef.
The fact that you have a steak in front of you doesn't tell you it came from a cow.
Well, until just recent years, it did. So your argument.
No, it didn't.
You missed the fucking point.
No, you could have a steak in front of you and maybe it didn't come from a cow. Maybe it came from a bison.
Brenda.
You fucking moron.
No.
Well, you gotta be all degenerate like that.
Yeah, you're really dumb, Brenda.
Couldn't care less.
No, you're really
right?
dumb.
What is your proof?
What
is your proof for pressure?
What is my proof of pressure? I'm displacing a volume of medium. That's my proof of pressure.
That doesn't prove anything.
It does.
Craig was right. You are incredibly stupid.
What's causing pressure on me right now?
What causes pressure is the average kinetic energy of the gas molecules around you.
Displacement.
No.
Yes.
The kinetic energy. That's what pressure is.
Pressure is displacement.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
What's the definition of pressure?
How does the barometer work?
Pressure. The definition of pressure is force over area.
How does a barometer work, Brenda?
The air atmospheric pressure forces the mercury up the tube.
How does it do that? How does it do that?
With kinetic energy, you fucking moron.
Which direction is this kinetic energy?
The original barometer was basically a pool of mercury with a tube in it, vertical tube, right? The force, that's the kinetic energy, the force of air molecules hitting the mercury pushes the mercury up the evacuated tube. You utter fool.
It says pressure is the force applied perpendicular to the surface of an object per unit area over that force is distributed.
Per unit area. It says nothing about a container.
It does.
Right?
Actually, it's the surface of an object.
Yes, the surface. Surface doesn't mean container. The surface of a wing. The surface. Listen to me, you dumb fuck. The surface of a wing, right? The surface of a wing is not a container, but it experiences pressure. It's the force over the surface of the surface of the wing.
It's a physical obstruction.
Yes, not a container.
Physical
Yes, physical.
constriction.
It's not a container.
Is
A
it
wing.
separating? Is it separating one air from another?
Yeah, the wing of an airplane isn't a container, though.
Temporarily contained, isn't it?
The wing of an airplane is not a container.
What's in place? Where's the air where the wing is
The
at?
definition is force over volume, over an area.
What's going on here?
According to
Right.
McCune waving his hands up and down in the air, that's contained gases in between his two hands.
Right. So you can have, let's say you have a canister of air like you use for scuba diving.
Why do you have to have a canister?
I'm showing everybody just how incredibly stupid you are. Okay, is there pressure in the middle of the canister of a scuba gear tank?
No.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
No, you are wrong.
The only place there's pressure the only place there's actually pressure is against the containment itself, or anything inside that is displacing it.
Every square inch inside of the scuba tank has pressure. Even those parts that are not up against the wall, you complete fool.
How does it have any pressure? How does it have any pressure? If it's pushing against the walls, it's not pushing against itself.
It has pressure because if there were a surface in the middle of the scuba tank, then there would be a force on that surface. That's how it has pressure.
On that surface.
No, there doesn't have to be. It's a hypothetical.
No, yes. The only place there's pressure of that is by anything that is displacing it or restricting it.
So in the scuba tank, there is pressure everywhere inside of that tank, not just against the walls.
No, just against the containment.
No, you're wrong.
How much does a gallon of water
Craig
weigh?
was right. Craig was right. Just because you disagree with people, everybody else, doesn't mean you're right. It means that you don't know anything.
All right,
because
Brandon,
you're an ignorant
you have
fool.
is running your fucking mouth. That's
I
all
don't
you
care.
have.
You're an ignorant fool.
Well, let me ask you a question. How much do you know how much a gallon of water weighs?
No, I don't. 2.2 pounds?
It's about 8.5 pounds.
8 pounds. Okay, whatever.
So if I put that gallon of water in the water, how much does it weigh now?
A gallon of water in what? What in water? What are you talking about?
A gallon of water into water. How much does that gallon of water weigh now?
You mean like a swimming pool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still going to weigh 8 pounds.
No, it doesn't weigh anything.
No, it does.
Guess what? There's no pressure being exerted on that gallon of water, even if I leave it in.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
No, it's exerted against
a gallon of water. If you have a swimming pool, a cube volume of gallon of water in the middle of that swimming pool weighs 8 pounds. You complete clown.
Wait a second.
This is like elementary school science.
It weighs 8 pounds. Why doesn't it go to the bottom?
Hey, tell
this
me
is a hypothetical. You numpty.
It's realistic. Now I want to show you something, Brenda. Tell me what.
So if you take a square, like a cube.
I'm going to mute you for a second because I want to show you something. I want you to explain to me what's occurring. Okay, just hang tight. All right. Do you see this right here? Okay, and watch what happens. Watch what happens. Can you tell me why that liquid is going up that tube?
Because of kinetic energy.
What kinetic energy? Energy of
the
what?
Heat is kinetic energy. The heat from your hand warms the fluid so it rises.
No.
Yes.
No. The fluid
yes.
No, wrong, Brenda. Wrong. Watch. It's not. I'm not heating the fluid.
Your hand is warm, you moron.
You're on the right track. You're on the right track. Actually, what's going on is my hand is warming the air inside of this bowl.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kinetic energy.
What happens to a gas when it gets warm?
Yeah, it forces the liquid up, but the liquid is also being warmed.
Yeah, but that's not the reason the liquid's going up.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. The reason.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't, Brenda.
Yes, it is.
All right, just stop saying, well, yes, it is, and listen to me.
But it is.
Okay.
You're warming the liquid.
No, that's not why it's going up. You're calling me stupid. Wow, dude.
Yes, you're warming the liquid and the air.
No, I'm not. I'm warming the air. The air expanding is pushing against the liquid, which ultimately forces it up the tube. Now, you notice how it's still in the tube right there? Some of it's dropped back down. You know why? It's because of where I'm holding on to it at right here.
If you put a flame over it, would it rise up?
If I did what?
If you put a flame underneath the liquid, would it rise up?
Oh, immediately. I don't.
Yeah, because you're heating the liquid.
All right. Am I? All right. Hang on. Watch. Here we go. I'm going to put that down here. I'm not going to touch the area with the liquid at all. Okay. I'm only going to heat the air. I'm not even touching the liquid. Look what's happening. It's rising up in there. But do you know why it's not rising as fast? Because this air up here is already warm because I already was touching it.
Yes. I said that you're.
What's going on now? It's bubbling.
Yes, I said that you're heating the air and the water. Yes.
Why is it bubbling? See that bubbling? I'm not heating the liquid. Why is it bubbling?
You are heating. You're heating both the air and the liquid.
There's no.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Your hand is warm.
Yeah, but it's way up here.
You're heating. Well, yes. In that case, you're heating just the air. But when you first started, you put your hand underneath it. Your hand was transferring heat to the water.
That's the most efficient way to get the heat into it, don't you think?
Right. So you're heating both the water and the air.
What do you think? What do you think changes temperature quickest? The air or the liquid? Which one will change temperature quicker?
It's going to depend on where you grab it.
The air is going to change temperature much quicker.
They both
than
change.
That
you're warming.
No, listen to me.
You're warming it. You're warming the water and the air.
Air will change the temperature of air much quicker than it will change the temperature of water or liquid. All the time.
Air will change the temperature of air. What a fucking stupid thing to say.
No,
it's crazy. I just got done actually telling somebody that Brenda's been actually kind of chilling out a bit and actually.
No, I just don't have to. I don't have to treat you with even the slightest respect because you're a fucking bigot.
Okay, well that's fine.
But
you're
guess
allowed
I was
to have
wrong.
your opinions. You know,
you actually still.
She rage quitted. She rage quitted.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So that dumb fuck actually thinks that I was heating this liquid. Thinks also that by heating a liquid is going to force it up a tube. Why wouldn't it just, if it's going to expand, it would just stay down here in this bulb right here. That's the least resistance.
Yeah.
That's the least resistance. She doesn't know a fucking thing that she's talking about, or whatever that wiener tucking weirdo is.
You know, to be honest, I think, you know, technically you were heating both up, but the reason it was lifting wasn't because you were heating both up, it was because you were heating the air up.
Yes.
But they just have to stick on these little nitty gritty things as if it actually is some sort of main purpose, some sort of main reason that they argue. And you know, anyway, he's
rage quitted, man.
Yeah, I wanted to know why he and all of the, you know, freaking ballers are so god dang triggered right now, just because Fight the Fairy Elves was in a particular debate with you, and I'm not even going to say who won or any of that bullshit because it doesn't matter. The fact is the two of you were having a conversation and now you're getting attacked.
I know, right?
Why do they actually have to act so degenerate?
Well, because they're fucking demonic.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's all I can say. They're just fucking demonic, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they're really dark spirits. They're, I don't think any of them, I couldn't see them being any kind of fun at a party or in a social gathering or anything like that.
Just angry people.
Yeah, man. You know, and it's like people like to hang out, man, because like We just chill, talk about these ideas, you know, and we discuss things. We have deep conversations and shit, and not just here. I'm talking about in real life, you know. And you know, you can sit there and go, yes, it does, all you fucking want to. But anybody that's ever lived near a lake, man, you go in the water at nighttime on a summer evening, and that water feels nice, man. It's warmer than the air outside, man. You know, I don't get this, why these people don't understand that the temperature change of water, like this thing here is thinking that here's the whole fucking principle right here. Holy God, right here, this thing.
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ, it totally exemplifies everything that I was talking about in one little device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's designed to tell me the temperature. How's it doing that? Is it changing the temperature of the water?
Yeah, Mullard in your chat brought up a good point. He says that, you know, they basically, Arthur Schopenhauer once said all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it's violently opposed. And third, it's accepted.
Yep. Schopenhauer.
Yeah. And, you know, I guess, you know, my bad. It wasn't that long ago for me. My life, I was a lot more vile, a little more angry, a little more pissy about things. And once you learn the truth, you go through a stage of being pissed off. You go through a stage of being angry, maybe sad, confused. Then eventually you start to realize that life is much better once you understand the truth, and you feel better, and you're less angered, less triggered. And it was a painful process to go through, you know, kind of a thing. So yeah, I guess my bad, I forgot.
So it looks like somebody's trying to come up, but none of their devices are connecting. Hey, there's Pepsi Girl. What's happening, Miss Pepsi Girl? How you doing tonight, hon? Good to see you. Fungamungus is here. Fungus among us. There's a fungus among us. They say buoyancy is gravity. Well, the thing is, it's not buoyancy. Gravity, look, outside of the context of anything, you can say gravity is weight. But then it comes up to what is weight, you know? All right, so here we go. He's finally got his shit working. We got a weak-ass globetard up on this thing. He says he's gay. So what's going on, weak-ass globetard? You got nothing to say, bro? What's up? I guess weak-ass globetard don't have anything to say. I don't blame you. You don't have any points to make. So anyway, let me know when you're ready to say something. Go right ahead. Nothing? Gravity is motion, which causes your weight. Yeah. Yeah, what motion? If I stop moving, do I lose weight? Come on, man. What's going on, weak-ass globetard? You got anything to say? Talk now or forever hold your peace, because I'm about to fucking kick you out. Yeah, it was Timmy. I changed his name before I brought him up.
What? You can do that, huh?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I brought him up as weak-ass globetard.
And you changed the caption underneath too?
Yeah, I said I'm gay.
Nice.
Blink twice if you need rope, he said. Iron Horse says. I knew it. I knew it. Says, oh my God, yeah, everybody knew that's who that was. What the hell? Oh man, don't fucking troll me, man. Bro, I'll fuck you up. I will. I can crack these. I'll crack people up. I'll use you as a source of comedy all day long. So Brenda really put us in our place. She hit us with a few no it doesn't and a yes it does. And I guess she thinks that Butt Cheek Head came out on top over in that discussion. I don't know, man. I don't think he did. I think all he did was, I think if you really pull apart all of the ad homs and, oh, you're just ignorant and you don't understand and this, that, and the other, and him fucking ad nauseum repeating himself, he didn't really have a fucking argument whatsoever. And of course, he wanted to get off of that fucking gas discussion because, listen, I don't give a shit. There is no way out of that one. There is no way out. Okay. And yeah, he's always just rude, man.
Yeah,
He's
super rude. It was just weird. I think it was last week I heard him talking about how, hey, if anybody of you flat earthers want to do any debates, I'm always, open invitation for you guys to come onto my channel, which is Brenda Debates. I was like, bam, what? Being nice, being cordial, inviting people because it helps your ratings to have a flat earther on there. I mean, granted, at times I've heard him actually describe Google, things you can find on Google pretty well. So I figure, he's pretty good at regurgitating information. So I figured, what the heck, that's pretty cool that he's actually trying to be cordial and not such a asshole.
He's a dick.
And then he comes on here, and first thing he does is writes "Hello, dum dums" in the private chat, and then starts calling names. And so it's pretty sad. I'm kind of surprised to see him do a 180 in the week. I guess he's used to change.
Hang on here.
Bipolar. Yeah. By North Polar.
All right, so we've got I Eat Feces. Oh, he left. Damn, got mad because I changed his name. I had him as I Eat Feces, and he left. Damn. Come on, Timmy Bob. You're going to have to get better at the game than that, babe. I'm just having fun with you anyways. What's going on in Sea Lightning 300 miles? Good to see you. One mind, one spirit. Right? Brenda lost it. Yeah. No, it's not. You guys are just bigots. Look, you wiener tucking weirdo. I don't have to play pretend with you, dude. Okay? I really don't. We're talking about truths here. We're talking about reality, and you're going to come in here with some kind of nonsense. Everybody that knows that principle that I just illustrated is going to understand why the liquid went up the tube and why it stayed in the tube when I was holding it by the tube. Holy shit, right?
Yeah, that kind of shows you something.
Yeah, I mean, gravity.
But at the very first, though, your hand was underneath the ball.
Yeah, well, that's it for one reason alone. It's not really doing much to the liquid itself, as the fact that entire globe is encompassed in my hand.
Yeah.
Right, and thereby there's more of a transfer of body heat going to that globe, and it's not the liquid getting warm is not going to force it up the tube. It's the air that forces it in. It's just like a vacuum doesn't suck. The outside air, the higher pressure pushes against it.
I
wanting to fill that area, see?
I figured it would make it move slightly, just like a thermometer. You heat up that liquid and it will expand, because things do expand under heat. So I'm sure there is something to do with that, but
I'll show you something. This is pretty amazing.
Not to be argumentative or anything.
Right. I got you. Let me see. I got something under vacuum. Okay. All right. So I'm sure a lot of people have seen this before. Let me bring it up on screen. Right.
There was about 9 minutes.
So let me ask you, what would happen if you were inside that container when it was getting pumped out?
We could ask maybe those billionaires that went down to see the Titanic. They underwent the exact same process. A lot of people would say that it got sucked into itself, right? And that's not what happened. That air outside pushed in. It pushed that in. It didn't get sucked in. It got pushed in by the surrounding air pressure. This is how you got to start thinking about these things.
Yeah,
it's not sucking in the inside. It's the air on the outside pushing in, because there's a vacuum happening there and we want to be part of it. It never wants to be, it doesn't want that condition to exist. This is why you need thick walls. You see even the little home lab vacuum chambers that they use, they're using about inch thick fucking plexiglass, and it's really tightly constructed together to be able to withstand the minimal pressure that they create within that chamber. It never gets down to the one in Sandusky, Ohio. What is that thing, Joel? The thing's got what, 8 foot? Is it 8 foot or 10 foot walls reinforced with concrete and steel?
I'm not sure. I thought it was 6 foot concrete steel, and that's NASA's vacuum chamber, right?
Yeah, the one at the Glen Allen Research Facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right, Bullard. 14 pounds per square inch isn't much. It is not much. We're not in a soda can. We're not in a spray paint can. Okay, it's really a low pressure that we're in. But like I've said before, if we were aquatic creatures, we lived on the ocean floor, I think that, think about what our physics would be like. We'd have a completely different understanding of them, wouldn't we? All by a change in the medium. Duct tape would have stopped the whole thing, Mr. Sidewinder said. And I think they're at the Glen Allen Research Facility, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they can only get that down to, I think I got it wrote down here somewhere. One of these books here, that they can only get it down to about what it supposedly is, just below what they call the Kármán line, which is that little magical space where you pop out into outer space, I guess. Let me see. I had that in here. Maybe this isn't the right. No, this isn't the right notebook. Oh, must be over in the bookshelf. But anyway, I remember reading that they can only get to close to what it is at the Kármán line. And they never test any human subjects or anything in it. They're never going to put somebody in a fucking spacesuit and say, hey, Bill, go on in there in your NASA-approved spacesuit, and we're going to reduce this sucker down. Never going to see that happen. Never going to see that happen. You'd have to be a crazy motherfucker to get into one of those goddamn things. I'll tell you that right now. There's a reason you exist at this pressure. And it's not by accident. It's not by accident.
That's for sure.
It's all created with purpose. Everything. There's so much thought put into this entire system that we live in, that we're part of. We don't just live in it. We're part of it. And we're at the center of creation.
Yeah, Stinky Cash was doing his stream today from the beach, and he was flipping out and looking at these, flipping over little shells and stuff on the beach, and looking at the Fibonacci spiral shape. And then the sand dollars having the little asterisk shape, to him. And it's like, yeah, this didn't happen by mistake.
No.
Yeah.
No, we find sacred geometry. I've often said the creator's favorite number is phi and pi. Those are his two favorite numbers, and they're both irrational numbers. And so within the phi ratio, we see this Fibonacci sequence. We see this spiral that happens. And it happens, I've watched marijuana plants grow. They follow it. Look at your fingerprints. Look at the way the curl in your ear from the hole all the way out. It's a Fibonacci curl. Look at the way a wave curves. It's exactly following that same ratio. That's why I always say the creator's favorite number is phi. Which is 1.618 to 1 ratio. The golden rectangle, so to speak.
Right, yeah. Well, I probably got to run here. My wife is summoning me here. But it was awesome getting to talk to you.
Yeah, man, you too, bro. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm getting ready to shut it down here too. We're almost up on 3 hours. That's enough for tonight.
And ballers. I mean, a lot of them ballers out there, they like to claim that this is their technology that us flat earthers are using. You've heard that one before, right?
Yeah.
Well, why in the hell is their technology working so well for us and they can't seem to get on to talk to you about this stuff? Why they have to be keyboard warriors in the chat and say it won't work for me. Anyway, food for thought.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, you come up on here, and I'm asking you some poignant, logical questions, Brenda, and you just want to go, and I'm pointing out actual facts of fluid dynamics to you, and you just want to go, no, it does not. And it's like, yeah. You don't feel any downward pressing of air on you. The pressure exerted on your body from the air is due to the displacement of the air, not because it's pressing down on you. There is no column of air above your head. Okay, that's just stupid. It's the pressure you feel is due to the displacement of the medium. And if I change that medium, you're going to have a different displacement level within it. And the pressure is going to change. That's all it is. It's downward acceleration of air. Nobody can ever demonstrate these are the big key things, man. No volume of gas without containment. No pressure of gas without it being in a volume, which of course must be contained. Now, is there actually pressure here in this empty area? I would say no, because there's nothing displacing it. If I put more things around, it doesn't increase the air pressure, does it? No.
Yeah, you just move it from
one. It's the same on everything. If I add more items in this room, does the air pressure on me decrease because it's going over there now? No. It's all due to the fact that I'm still displacing the same amount of fluid that my body takes up. That's all.
Yeah.
So that whole idea is...
There's definitely going to be more pressure on your ears and things like that when you're deep in the swimming pool than if you're, in the shallow end underwater.
Yep.
Things like that, of course. But that's a good point. That
these things work off of air. These things work off of air.
Yeah.
There's a little channel of air down inside your ear and shit, right? So of course that pressure of that air is going to change when you go down deep. You can relieve that pressure, of course. You pop in your nose, plug your nose, and try to blow out through it. Same thing as when you go up a mountain. We get that around here where I live all the time.
Yep.
But you learn to do that. But
lower pressure
air in there, and it's being affected by the outside pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a contained volume.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that inside of a container, that the only pressure that's being exerted in there is against the walls of the container.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing displacing it. There's nothing interrupting it in the middle. There's nothing interrupting it in the middle at all. The only thing that's interrupting it is its movement is the container itself. So unless you've got something in there displacing it or having it cause displacement, is there going to be any kind of pressure? And a device for measuring pressure has to displace the medium in order to register a pressure reading. Unless there's some other magical way of telling. Real simple shit, guys. Real simple shit. Had a lot of fun tonight, Joel. Thank you for coming on. Doesn't mean you got to go nowhere. I'm gonna get ready to sign off and shit real quick. Want to thank everybody for showing up. Had a good time. I also want to thank FTFE because as I have been studying you people like bugs, you gave me a lot more data that I can add to the rest of my study of you bug-like creatures. Brenda, I'm sorry, learn something first. I mean, really, just fundamental basics of gas behavior would be cool. You know, that would be really awesome. Valley Parks, Andrew, thanks for showing up. Cylon Killa. Who else do we have? ZXL Master. I don't think I shouted him out earlier. Mongo McD. Daniel Becker. Celtic Hammer. Let's see. Glenn Salch. What's going on, my man? Ethan 0406 was here with us tonight too. Iron Horse, of course, unless he's a horse of whatever. Anyway, Mr. Ed. Brody Fisher, and of course we had this troll come in several times and try to be somebody he wasn't, and we had a little bit of clown fun with that guy. He was fun and changed his name. He didn't like that. Yeah, that's right. We're part of it and we're fucking destroying it, man. That's exactly it. So you just keep out there spreading the words and listen, man. I'm Flatzoid. I'm stealing. I know you're going to watch my show. I'm stealing your line, brother. May the pressure be with you. I love that, man. Because, man, that's a killer. That's a killer for the globe right there. That's one they can't get because a lot of their shit, it points right to that gravity and its inability, if it existed, to affect gas behavior. Well, we got a bunch of shit on here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Brenda debates when she came in. She said, hello, dum-dums. Oh, shut up, you poopy head. Good God, grow the fuck up. I bet that bitch sleeps with a teddy bear, man, for real. I'm like, no way. All right. So anyway, everybody keep that shit in mind. The pressure is one of the globe killers, especially when it comes to gravity causing pressure or balls of gas forming and causing gravity for some fucking reason against all principles of gas behavior. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at there. I got that fucker. You didn't even get the N out. I'm getting good, baby. I'm getting good.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah, boy. So anyway, like we always like to say on here, don't forget, the Lord loves the working man. Don't trust Whitey. See your doctor and get rid of him. He'll probably kill you. And we'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Until then, let your thoughts be your own.